Hey everybody, Vsauce here.
Vsauce, Michael here. What if you died?
What if I, mugged you?
Okay, jeez.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here, with a gun.
Oh, no.
What if you were about to be killed?
What would your brain do then? We're here to
What
explore
would
this.
your brain do while smeared all over this wall?
I'm glad I'm recording.
Oh no.
Do it for the vine.
That's cringe.
Is that even a thing still?
Nope.
It's been
Vine's
dead.
been dead for years.
Yeah,
That's the reason why
So-
Logan Paul is on YouTube.
yeah. Well, everybody's either switched to YouTube or TikTok.
Just like
Nah,
Amazon.
not even TikTok. It was just YouTube because TikTok wasn't around until like 5 or 10 years or 5
No,
or 6
it
years
was
after
it was
that.
it was called something else.
Musically.
It was Dub Smash or something like that.
Amazon, why are you constantly on TikTok watching the hit or misses?
I'm not watching the hit or misses.
I guess I never miss, huh? Got a boyfriend, bet he doesn't kiss ya.
Huh?
You know, if I was recording, I would put that on a soundboard and just play it forever.
Man, it's my favorite
Why?
part that I haven't. I can cut things out.
Yeah. Unless I record
Alright.
it too.
Oh no!
Is everybody acclimated?
No.
Have you tested your new sheet out, Jam, to make sure that everything is actually functioning? I have the copy of your old pre-edited character tucked away in a folder. However, I want to be 100% confident that we're not going to have any fuck-ups mid-session.
I think it's working.
That is a +7 to hit, yes. And then
Yeah.
there's brace.
Get your superiority dial figured out.
We are level 4 still, yay.
Yes.
It's all working. I now just have action surge and second wind, which I didn't have before, which is going to be really weird. I
How's
am
it
not.
feel?
Please remind me that I have it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what I would do, instead of having fucks left 0 out of 0 on the front face of your sheet, I would change
Yeah.
that to second wind or whatever the other thing is. By the way, little fun tidbit here. I see you have a custom element for inspiration. You know the little icon on the top,
I know.
right?
I like it more there.
All right.
I know,
You do
fuck
you.
you.
Because it has this nice, cool, like, pulse effect. And like, that's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. That's why I'm not doing it. It's too nice for me.
Well, all right. Live in squalor we shall, as we pick things up from when we left off. Any volunteers to do a recap to get a nice, juicy inspiration point? If not, I will do it myself.
I'll
It's
do
been
it.
full in a week. My brain's...
I'll do it, but I don't need the inspiration. So, last week on our adventures, we just got finished with fighting the Snugglerug and the Funky Bunch. Got to Highshire, realized that Highshire is not very protected anymore, as the religious dome of fuck you, no spawn here, Minecraft spawn protection kind of is failing us a little bit. So creatures are now spawning inside the walls. We were making our way to the inner wall, while a fight broke out into the distance. We decided that we were going to go see what that was. Found 2 massive grass monsters, or 1 massive grass monster and a couple people. 2 of them got annihilated fucking instantly. We killed both of those guys though. 1 exploded violently and gloriously. Left that, went to the Highshire inner wall, kind of got to the main spire, not the spire yet, but we got to like the main Inquisition Hall. Breathe in. Split up from the other group, 62? Yeah?
63.
63, I was one off.
Yep.
Split off from them, had to give them half of our stone. And then we did a small debriefing with a new lady that I forgot the name of.
Shayla.
Shayla? Did a
Yes.
small debriefing with Shayla for a little bit, and then Akoda came in. The Chad Akoda fanboy that just wants to look like her favorite hero. Basically determined that we're going to keep the stone for one more day. And
It was the end of the day.
Oh, until
Your
the
half
end
of
of
the
the
stone
day?
was kept towards the end of the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's in Garrick's possession.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
We were then ushered into the actual Helios spire itself.
Pillar of Commandments.
The Pillar of Commandments, the Helios...
Spire's trademarks.
Oh, is it trademarked?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm not getting into it.
No. moving on.
We're in there. Garok was dead. Garok is not dead. After Okoda got told to fuck off.
Wait, what?
You mean Obosh?
Obosh. Garok is still not dead. That
I fucking hope so.
Obosh was
Well, surprise! Heart attacks are a bitch.
Obosh
Well,
was dead.
fuck.
Obosh is no longer dead, and he was talking about how he led off the people and finally made it to a spot, and then he got stabbed in the chest or stomach or somewhere. Told that your secrets die with you, nobody.
Yeah, he was killed by an unseen assailant.
Yes.
He only managed to spot a few details.
And then he said something about a second king.
Well, this was because Nashira was empowered by the rings, and we were given memories of the future,
Yep.
which were taken away when we went to see the Startographer.
Yep.
Or repressed, maybe? Maybe.
Maybe.
If we be introspective, we can uncover some of the shit we saw.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe we should go beat up Nashira for a little bit.
And your mom.
To reiterate on that point a little bit further, Obosh had been specific on when these visions of the future came into all of your heads. For the most part, they were your own memories fast forward throughout the timeline, and you essentially saw everything. And your demeanors all completely changed. And you began speaking to each other very carefully. And you initially, at the end, before meeting the Startographer, concluded that this needs to happen in this exact way for things to go to whatever way that you saw.
Yeah, and that's kind of a mind fuck in and of itself.
A little bit.
And continuing ping-ponging off Jam here, we had visions, our demeanors changed, and we knew that we needed to find the Startographer. And we knew where he was.
Yes.
And I believe Obosh mentioned something about receiving visions about something.
Yes.
was
Jam,
a
if you want
mass-
to continue.
He was either a massive fish of some kind or a sea dragon of some kind.
Yeah.
Felt pain and felt everything or something like that. That I don't exactly remember. And he had like decisions of the world and the future in his hands, kind of shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Before being felled by humans, if I believe my wording was on that one.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
that's it.
And now we're free to fuck off after Obosh was interrogated a little bit, and that's where we are.
Yes.
And you would, yeah, it would be leaving the Pillar of Commandments back out to the High Capital as
Sure.
Leonidas and Sadrius are continuing to further probe at Obosh. You would get a shouldering glance as you're leaving that Obosh is looking to the four of you with a bit of longing in his eyes, almost as if there's more that he wanted to tell, but he either stopped himself or was stopped by some other factor.
Yeah, he definitely needs to rest and realign himself before
Yes.
he speaks more.
Yes.
Exactly. And with that being said, having been dismissed by the chosen Leonidas, which, by the way, I'm not sure if my showcases of character art was working properly, because I tried to show this last session, but evidently it never appeared on your screens. This is the full art of Leonidas. Can you
He's
see
not
that?
pantsless? I'm sad.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right.
Does he have wings or no?
Currently, he does not have wings. He's just a very large, ironclad guy with a ridiculously large golden winged shield and a gilded sword to go with it. And
Because looking at the token, I thought his shield was a wing spreading out.
you'd imagine he wouldn't be unreasonable to assume he probably has wings in some capacity, but currently he does not. you would know that the icons of Zula have wings, but that's more like an artifact that is grafted onto them. And with that being, Jesus Christ, done, you would leave out into the streets. There we are.
He's very nice.
Mirix is gonna dust off his hands slightly and... Well, I have, some things I need to go shopping for.
I also need to go and acquire some things.
You did mention this last session, B-Man, but how has Seeker been doing? Because I would like to inform Mirix or Dagny before we fan out to go do our individual tasks.
So, with the link you have with Seeker, are you able to see what's happening in real time, or do you need to actively tune in? Like, explain that a little bit better to me, because this kind of matters for how you're perceiving it.
I think it was like familiars. You like do an action to tune in.
Okay.
So, I think I mentioned like every 25, 30 minutes I would tune in briefly.
Gotcha. Alright. In that case, yeah, we'll see. This took place roughly around the time that all this was happening. It was a lot for you to take in. Of course, all of the goings-on with Obosh was taking place, so it really wasn't your place to interrupt things and report on your throne. However, things were in fact taking effects. And to start, let me see, was there an order of operations that we agreed on? I think it was the Silverhide residence first, given it was closer.
I believe so, yeah.
Your drone, at the time of you approaching the pillar, would give off a mental ping, signifying that it is imminently approaching its first targets, as you would tune into its vision. Once you come to a point of rest, so you don't, of course, bump into any walls, and you would see through its vision it is arriving on the Silverhide residence. Your drone would quickly descend, having being close to the wall to the Inner Kingdom. It would ride the clover shape of the Inner Kingdom, and not far from the wall there is a series of houses, homesteads, on a point of residence that is towards the edge. And your Seeker drone, having taken into account the description of the Yuan Ti that Dagny gave, would begin probing and going about trying to locate this target.
And just to reiterate for you and the stream, I guess, it did have a pre-recorded message, if anyone came over to bother it, that it's a Cartographer Team 26 drone surveying area.
Mm-hmm.
This would be echoing audibly, a speaking volume. And as your Seeker drone descends and begins inspecting locals to try to find a match, there would be quite a bit of surprised faces. Some fearful, some curious, although with this thing giving off the message, it seems to be quelling their initial concerns. You imagine with everything that these people have been seeing and hear about in recent times, anything they don't innately recognize is met with caution and fear.
I am curious. Being close to the inner wall, the exterior of it, obviously, I believe you said.
Mm-hmm.
Do they seem more well off than those further out? As if it is a privilege from being more wealthy or influential to get closer to the inner city?
Roll perception for your drone, and this will be incorporated for how it searches for its target as well.
Okay.
That one.
No, please don't curse me.
That one.
There we go.
Can I give it guidance?
Oh.
Now, it's a bit hard to get that distinction given that the outermost walls of Highshire are more like a battlefront now and are more commonly occupied by soldiers than there are people. Even still, there is definitely a noticeably increase in the quality of how well kept these houses are, the materials used to build them, the accenting and general state of living for the people. Granted, these are harsh times, so there's a lot of riffraff even out here. But through all of that, it does appear to be a trend where the closer to the wall you get, these houses do appear to be in somewhat nicer conditions. You would suspect that to get supplies, commodities, and riches here versus further out towards the edges is less of a burden, both for the merchants and for the travelers and the clients.
I'm essentially just trying to clarify, because I'm not sure if I ever did, but essentially, the wealthy are granted the safety and prosperity of being closer within, and those who are poor, less socioeconomically well off, are kind of shunted more outwards towards the edge of the exterior walls.
Now, you would see people of a poorer complexion moving through here. However, you would see that a lot of the majority of these people are on top of caravans and wagons and are seemingly riding on top of or along with all of their stuff. You think that these may be refugees from the front lines of the walls, where their homes are either in imminent danger or have already been destroyed, and thus a lot of them have moved here in search of some form of shelter. There's a good few houses you can see where their doors are open, and there are people, seemingly immigrants from farther off, that have arrived here and are trying to get some sort of roof over their heads. And there's mixed reactions between them being shooed away or gently turned down, and even a few that are being accepted. You see one particular larger barn that has its doors open, where there's several families that have their caravans parked, where it seems like this barn has had its horses removed, taken elsewhere, and has now become somewhat of a shelter for refugees from elsewhere on. So there are certainly acts of kindness that are taking place here.
Not enough, I would think.
There's a lot of people still looking to find some sort of treatment, and with the open doors that are there, it's hard to account for all of the loss of homes. You would continue on with Seeker trying to probe, and of course I would say that this is you actively checking in while you are quiet in the pillar, trying to keep an eye on this. And a while would go by, and with your perception roll, after a good 15, 20 minutes, there isn't really any matches with this Yuan Ti. However, there eventually would be a shout that would catch your attention. It would be an older man shouting over a general crowd, "Damn it, Silverhide!" Which of course would beckon Seeker's attention. Silverhide is a match. Taking the time to find the origin, you would come across a similar homestead with a small horse barn and a good amount of property, some small farmland accompanied with it, and there would be a similar caravan that is speaking to someone who looks like they belong there. There's a younger man with this short blonde hair speaking to these refugees. And you would ease in to see what was going on with the conversation. And there's seemingly an older gentleman speaking on behalf of the caravan, a small family of 4. And he's kind of just a lot of hand motions. He seems to be beckoning to this blonde-haired boy. He's saying, "I know this is a lot to ask. I just one night, 2 at the very most, just so we can get some sort of ground here. We'll pull weight, we'll do anything we can. I know that it's not your call, but seeing as you're the only one here right now, I'd be in your debt if you would even allow it. If it causes problems with your folks, just you direct it right at me, I'll take the full blame for it. Please. You haven't seen what's like out there." And this blonde-haired boy, you would recognize this is probably one of the Silverhides. As the conversation continues with a few of the others, you would get the first name, Dennis. And, of course, your drone, airing its message, would close the gap, and before it gets too much further, your drone would interrupt the conversation as all heads would turn to Seeker, who has now entered their vicinity.
Yeah, it would definitely. It doesn't really give a shit about interrupting their conversation. It's here to do a job before continuing on. So it'll get closer to Dennis and will tap with a little mechadendrite appendage the strip of leather adhered to it and cause the pre-recorded message that Dagny made to him, which, if you'd like to say, Dagny?
It would say, "This is Dagny Silverhide. I just need to know that all is well on the Silverhide estate. If possible, contact me at the Inquisition."
That message would play, and Dennis's eyes would widen. He would light up. And you can see there's a bit of surprise, joy, and relief all mixed into one facial expression as he seems to have completely forgotten what he was talking about. And he looks over towards the drone, bewildered, for he shakes his head a little. Dagny? Dagny, are you there? Hey! And he's trying to flag the Seeker drone down for further information.
No, it did its job. It's flying away.
Fucked off.
Dennis would fly off the front of the house in pursuit of this drone, sprinting as fast as he can before eventually giving out, as there's no way he can truly keep up with the drone, leaving his previous conversation behind as Seeker continues on, westbound towards its second target, and further developments on the Silverhide residence are obfuscated. It would continue on, and the majority of the occurrences in the pillar would take place. And as you're being prepped to leave, there would be a secondary ping, as the drone is once again querying for your attention, as it has arrived at the Battlesmith estate, which I presume you'll be tuning into as well.
Yep.
You do so.
You do not own a token on the scene.
Oops. I thought I removed that, but apparently it didn't save my configuration.
There it goes.
And it would recall upon the description of a shorter, bearded man by the name of Eric Battlesmith in a general location. It would arrive towards the western forested civilization that is towards the western parts of Highshire. Not too far from the outer walls, but there is a body of water that separates this town from the front lines, giving some level of reprieve to the people here, although you can see that hardships are more hard felt here, as the estate is an exception in good condition, much like the Silverhide residence, but the surrounding area is a bit of a mixed bag. There's a church that has a similar well-kept, well-constructed complexion, but a lot of the surrounding houses are not really on the same level as the Battlesmiths. You can see there's billowing smoke to the far side of one of the sides of the estate, to which the Seeker drone would hone in on, given the information on being a town smith. There appears to be a small smith shop that's adjoined to a larger estate, and with no trouble at all, it seems to have found its target, as there would be a man. He is speaking with what looks like a few people who are trying to commission his work, as you get a good look at him, as he is in the thick of it. And you can see that there is hard work taking place inside of this smith shop. Looks like someone's being fitted for a sword at the moment. And you can see that Eric is trying to instruct on proper techniques for swinging, as this younger lad, probably around the age of 15, 16 with his father, are trying out this brand new sword. It looks like he's trying to show this lad how to defend himself with the imminent threat of the walls crumbling. And despite how worked he looks, He doesn't give an ounce of fatigue to the way he speaks, moves, or anything else. And the seeker drone would close the distance, interrupting this conversation as well quite abruptly, having no tableside manners. And I presume you'll be playing the message.
Yeah, which, Mirks, Jam, feel free to spout off the message I recorded for you.
Mirek's not really understanding the whole goal of it. Mirek's here. I'll show up later. Did that work?
That's just the end of the message.
That's it? Oh my god!
You would see there is a bit of a furrowing of the brow of this man as he is confused. A bit of confusion and surprise breaking his stoicism, for he would shake his head after a few seconds. Damn it, boy, what is this?
The drone, having completed its mission, does a 180 turn and flies out.
The furrowing would intensify as, without further specification, the seeker drone is off, and there is equal, if not greater, confusion at the battlesmith estate than there was in the previous stopping location, as the drone flies off, beginning its return mission. And I'll say for brevity's sake, it knows your location as you're in the high capital, and it'll be, you imagine, roughly an hour or two before it actually rendezvous with you. However, it has completed its mission, and it seems like the general gist of what was meant to be conveyed got across.
I just want to say, just like for Mirks' message, I was imagining like an arcane erupt hang up at the end of it.
But yeah, that would have been a mission success on Seeker's part, which I assume on your way out of the pillar across the gilded bridge and back to the High Capital's interior, you'll be reciting back to everyone.
Yeah, I'll pipe up and say, Mirks, Dagny, Seeker has completed the task set before it. As for you, Dagny, your brother, Dennis, I believe, he is currently dealing with a few refugees at your estate and seems to be doing quite well.
The estate, look, was everything intact?
Yes, it seems it did not suffer any attacks or damages. In fact, it seems to be accepting refugees for the most part from the outer walls.
Dagny just kind of breathes this massive sigh of relief. It's like, good. I mean, I can't claim that the Silverhides have much, but we'll probably do what we can.
As for you, Mirks, your father is hard at work, doing quite well. Your home is quite intact as well. No signs of recent attacks or danger.
Alright
He
then.
appears hard at work.
I mean, he never did take a break, but I don't know. I'll go there later. It's fine. Speaking of which, books? I need to go grab some. Anyone else want to join?
Come with you.
And to reiterate, sorry to interrupt, and reiterate a point that was given as a direct order from Chosen Leonidas, you essentially have been relieved of immediate duty for the rest of the day. It is late afternoon, the sun is beginning to set, and it seems as though you have, at least until tomorrow morning, free reign to rest and recover, and take care of what you need to take care of.
Do I know of a bookshop?
Oh, you can easily find a bookshelf on the interior. High Capital's got some nice ones.
Yes.
I naturally assume we shall reconvene at the inn we stayed last, yes?
Singing rings? We can do that.
I mean,
Very well.
it is a place The only place we all know, really.
Really? I mean, Garrick.
Yes.
I mean,
You know what? He doesn't know it. Do you want to come with us?
Sure. I mean, sure, I have some things I need to do around there anyway.
I have repairs to do. I'm going to see if the Inquisition has a workshop or forge I can make use of.
Actually, just gonna start scrolling down some notes. I need some. If you can hand them this requisition list, see if there's anything that they could obtain for us.
Very well. I'll snatch it and head off.
If you have that requisition list actually typed out, you might want to ping that in the game chat just so.
yeah,
that's
there's
on
a thread.
It's in the Discord.
Yeah.
I have to go dig for it then.
It's
One sec,
under
I'll see if I
off-screen
can get it for
actions.
you.
I have to go find it now.
It's under off-screen actions.
No, I'm pinging it in the chat here.
Yeah, thanks. Because like I don't have Discord like up, you know.
Fair enough.
Well, I was going to say that if he needed a forge, he could just come and use mine, but he's already walked off.
We are. All right. Thank you.
Give me Pearl.
Give me bro.
Give me Pearl.
Tiny one. There you go.
I mean, it would still do the job.
All right. Yeah. And Ren, you would take the list that has been compiled by the rest of Patrol 26, and you would head off back towards the Hall of the Inquisition. And as of the others, where is everyone meaning to go?
Bookshop.
Yes.
Bookshop?
Bookshop.
Dagny,
Also
I assume
bookshop.
you're accommodating? Or coming with, rather?
Yes.
Okay. Garrick, your destination.
Also, bookshop.
3 going to the bookstore.
Bookshop.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay. We will roll with the bookshop first. Because it's very
Majority.
close by. Yeah, it would happen first chronologically. As just a stone's throw from the mouth of the bridge that leads towards the pillar, there would be a collection of tomes arranged in a very eloquently put together shop. And you can see just by the windows that the nature of the tomes that they have are far and wide. And there seems to be no shorthand of well put together, dusted off, and well made tomes. As far as the more rugged books go, the more common things you may find tucked away in whatever dusty crevice you encounter, there's few of that here. This is very much a high-end place to which you would be walking in. And it's a bit cramped in here. Garrick, you need to duck your head in order to make it through the door. And as you're getting in, you almost are unable to fully turn about the widths of your shoulders because this is quite a tight nook. There's a few additional people in here with you that are crouched over whatever obsession they have on the shelves. And you can just see towards the back of the store, there is a small desk, and you see there's this elderly gnome lady that is currently negotiating a price with a tome with what appears to be a nobleman.
What kind of book is it?
Hard to see. He's a bigger lad. And
Shall we all look for whatever books we are respectively trying to find and then buy them all
Yeah.
at once?
Mirek just kind of turns out his pockets. I think the Arban still owes me 19 gold.
Let's look around. I'll pay what I can. I have some gold at least.
That makes one of us. I am a bit skinned.
I'm surprised the Inquisition doesn't pay us for what we do.
I'm pretty sure the Inquisition pays us in the form of get shit free.
friendly reminder that they did give you the seal of the Inquisition that you can show to shopkeepers.
Yeah, that's what Mirix was planning on doing. Just, I'm taking this, goodbye. Do I find any old history books? Really old history books, like before Highshire history books. I like before Highshire history books, please.
Now, those are particularly valuable, among the highest commodity.
Yep.
Given the history before everything happens. It's rare, but it is within the realm of possibility. Roll a D100.
Oh God. Can I roll it with advantage for?
That's not really how this works. So
64.
just go ahead and roll. 64. All right. Let's see how you did. All right. And just a investigation check as you're going through the shelf to go along with this.
Investigation. 11.
Nice.
Very nice. Well, you start off on one far end looking through a arrangement of different tomes, and there are sections to this place where things can be organized between children's books and educational books, history, information on skills, hunting, forage work, and everything in between. However, given the nature of recent events and the value of information in general, a lot of these books have been picked up by random people, obsessed over, and then put back in a random spot because they found something better. The brow of frustration by the gnome lady up front would suggest that finding stuff by their sections is no longer a realistic possibility. You would find that where the history section is supposed to be, pick out the nicest, most first tome that you see that catches your eye, and you get a big old book that reads, "Hilarious knock-knock jokes to say out loud."
Oh no.
God, it's another joke book.
Just looking back and forth, making sure Dagny isn't in eyesight at all. Just, I'm going to take this one.
Yep, it's a surprisingly old-looking book for what it is, containing a few, as you skim through, genuinely good knock-knock jokes.
Shoot me a couple on DMs, please.
I'll get back to you on that.
How obvious is it that the books are no longer sorted properly?
Well, not all of the spines have names on them, given that there is a variety of different standards from books that came from different places, different cultures, and different time periods. So they tried to organize it as best as they could given the situation, but take those complications with people storming this tiny place and mixing up the shelves hilariously and finding what you actually want, regrettably, is a bit of a time-consuming challenge.
Well, I'm looking for things that are a bit broader, and in this case, I'm looking for stuff that's like, books about trades, crafts, that sort of thing. The more obscure, the better, but obviously, I'm just looking for, I suppose, quantity over quality in this sort of situation. So just a general large look.
Roll me a D100 and an investigation check.
And before I do, Dagny.
Yes?
I don't know what Mirix is here for, but if I help you find the item that you're looking for, would you help me with my search?
Pose? Trade for a trade? What are you looking for?
Craftsman's books. Anything on how to build. The more obscure, the better.
She kind of chuckles for herself. Well, I suppose we're on a similar vein.
What is it you were looking for?
Books on spellcrafting, if possible.
Alright then. Well, let's see if we can find my books first, and then we'll see if we can find yours.
Alright.
So does that mean I can roll with advantage?
How are you justifying this advantage here? Are you looking for two things at once?
No, by having Dagny help me look for books, basically.
Oh.
So you get advantage on the investigation check. The D100 is really just
Oh yeah, the
a-
D100 is still a D100. But
Yeah.
I mean for the
It's not implicative of a high versus low roll. So,
No, I
yeah.
know. I mean just for looking when I roll.
Yep. So roll investigation with advantage, and we'll check out your roll
63.
here. 63.
Yeah, I see.
The
That's
same
what
exact
it is.
book, but in Russian.
And investigation, you said?
Yeah.
Yes, with advantage.
That's 1. So 16. I can just throw on a guidance whenever I want, so I can add that, right?
Okay.
So 17. There you go.
Now, you use your height to your advantage. You know that
Yes.
with what they try to organize, these bookkeepers are a bit on the shorter side despite having step ladders, but those two get shuffled around along with everything else. You would look on the top shelf trying to use this more intelligently. And looking for something that is more practical, you would look around the more informative side of the shop, and there would be a particular tome that is in a dialect you understand, and seems pretty interesting as you would read it. The title would read, The Ravings of Garvis, 3rd edition.
Ravings of
And
Garvis.
You would kind of get there is a bit of a blurb on the front pages that seems to be written by someone who isn't actually the one responsible for the notes that are contained within this book, more like someone who's gone through it and has written sort of a synopsis. And you would ascertain that this book is the assorted notes and thoughts of an ancient and powerful wizard from an era long past. His mind was obliterated upon making contact with unknown entities, but records of his journey into madness remain.
He raves so much, there's fucking 3 volumes about it, maybe more.
You'd imagine that someone as crazy as the subject of this tome may have some outside information. Maybe some insights into the arcane, perhaps about era long past, as the synopsis suggested. Very useful.
I might also want this one, but I think this is something that might also tickle your fancy, Dagny.
What'd you find?
Just pulling it quite literally from like one of the top shelves where somebody obviously tried to hide it. The Ravings of a Mad Wizard. By the looks of it. Do you know what Garvis?
Have I heard of an ancient wizard named Garvis?
Roll history.
0. -1.
Fucker! God damn it! The second time you've done this to me, Jam.
You need to shut your
doing
mouth,
it,
Cam.
Fucking cursed!
What did
So
you
yeah.
Fencing.
So yeah, you think at first, oh wait, yeah, no, I know a Garvis. You're like, wait a minute. Oh no, that was Tarvis. And you are about to say something, and you stop, and you kind of catch yourself and look stupid for a brief moment.
My words
I-
are laced with magic.
Could I also roll a history check for fun?
We'll just say, for brevity's sake, that you have not heard of this person.
Fair enough. Well,
Unfortunately, I don't. I almost confused it with someone else. But this could be useful.
we'll grab that one.
Yeah.
Let's see what your eyes can pick up then, I guess. I found
Let's see.
something
Yes.
interesting.
All right,
All
Dagny.
that.
Very nice. Everyone's rolling in like the same window.
Yeah.
I got a fucking knock.
And
Uh,
20 on investigation.
All right. Let's see here. Give me one moment. Since you rolled pretty good.
More kobold jokes.
Fucker.
nah, this one's goblin jokes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So, you are a little bit more arcanely tuned than the rest of the party, so you would rely more on your arcane senses to try to identify something that would be more useful for the coming road ahead. And you would graze your hand along the shelves and would kind of get a sift for any sort of magical pings. And there would be a definite ping on one of the tomes that you graze your fingers over. Something that is potentially within the parchments magically inclined. And you would take out this tome and would give it a quick look over. It's titled Animated Apocrypha. And skimming it, you would find that this is a book of movement and morals. This book is definitely enchanted and tells of tales with illustrations that move on their own in a set repeating pattern. And the tales tend to connect to Highshire in some respects, with tales over time, depicting stories of good morals. It seems to be more of how overcoming challenges through the last century has, in the end, resulted in people becoming closer and further unified. There's definitely some information here that you think could be useful. Some tales upon wizards developing their understanding of the rings and aura and how it ties into the arcane. Others on people developing more technology, which assisted people in a number of ways. And despite the theming of morals, there's a lot of practical applications.
Yep, definitely holding on to this one. Alright. I think we found something that's at least useful to us. Do we need to get anything else?
Well, I wouldn't say no to just a couple of miscellaneous books, but no, I think we've covered something that we both are interested in.
It's a start, at least.
You could ask the librarian.
Good.
Yeah, because was already kind
Yeah.
of heading over there when he didn't find anything other than fucking knock jokes that he's totally taking, but not notifying them.
We definitely could do that voice in my head. Let's go and talk to the librarian.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, yeah, you would all eventually congregate your way towards the front, and Garrock, with you in the lead, being the big guy you are, the few people that are within the shelves would quickly get out of your way as they see a big guy who needs a lot of space that they just don't have. And you have no problem getting to the front, and Dagny, with you in his shadow, you can very easily get to the front as well.
Yeah.
As for Mayarks, you kind of have to weave a little bit to get past people. You end up bumping against one of these, a more skinny commoner who's, like, very buried in a book. And you kind of bump in the back and he goes, as you startled him to such an extent that he sneezed all over the parchment. And he quickly, very quickly, slams that book shut. You're not sure if it was ruined or not, but he looks to you with wide, startled eyes and goes, "Ha! Watch it, buddy."
Can I, before he can ruin the book, can I just shove... this is gonna be horrible and gross, but can I shove my hand before he can fucking annihilate it?
Oh my god!
Just...
Alright, I guess you're trying to, like, shove your hand towards his face.
No,
this happens very...
Shove my hand in the book so it can't close and make it ruined.
I mean, he's sneezing on the parchment and he's trying to close it afterwards. So, I mean, I guess if you're trying to intercept this, make a sleight of hand roll.
It's a 2.
Nope.
Oh.
It's a nasty sneeze. That book slams shut, and you kind of catch it as it's already shut, and he would kind of jerk your hand away a little bit, hoping that you didn't see him ruin a book, but you're really not quite sure.
Yeah, you got a handful of slime and a ruined book as well.
Please bring that to the front desk, lady. Don't ruin it. What is he reading?
Let's see what he is reading. You would see that there is a book in his hands that is titled The Orcsmith Compendium.
God damn it. I'm gonna just take that from him.
Wait, what? You just take it out of his hand?
I'm taking it out of his hands and just... Don't destroy literature.
Hey, buddy, I was reading that, okay? You're not the one that's bumping around
You're
here.
sneezing in it.
You startled me, man. It's not my fault.
Why do you sneeze when you're startled? I would hate to see you get fucking angry.
Are you
Max.
asking why? You asking why people sneeze? Come on, man.
I'm just taking the book to the front desk.
He's gonna contest it because you're just taking the book from him and he wants it. Or perhaps he's trying to hide a ruined book from you. Either way.
Athletics versus grapple check on book.
Yeah, it's fine. All right.
Fuck!
So,
Yeah, no, this dude, you don't think much of him because he strikes you as a weird weakling, but nimble as he is, he kind of paps the spine of the book. It lifts up out of your hands, grabs it with the other, and he slinks to a nearby offshoot. And he's getting some distance between you. He's very skinny, so he has no trouble slithering between people. Pursuing him is gonna be, well, commotion.
so we've been out of here for a grand total of 5 minutes, and I'm impressed. He is a fast worker.
Just booming voice. Order of the Inquisition, come back!
Ah, interesting tactic. Let's see if it works out for him.
Just holding the fucking thing from the Inquisition that I have.
Well,
Literally
he's
just
out of view now.
Terry,
I
while
suppose
he's
you
going.
can roll intimidation because he's still in this tiny shop with you.
He's ruining books.
Oh no.
1 second, I gotta abuse my power.
I have to abuse my power. I'm also using commanding presence to add a d6 to this.
All right.
Superiority die.
This is good. Nat
Fucking hell. Get over here, you son of a bitch.
There would be, I see. There would be a very deafening silence that follows your booming command as your loud voice echoes through this tiny shop. All eyes have come off of the shelves and tomes, and the librarians, the people within the shelves looking at books, and I imagine Garrick as well as Dagny are all staring at you, Merrick's.
If he comes around the corner, I'm dead-eyeing him and just holding my hand out.
There would be a long pause. You are surveying the shop, and no one approaches you.
Did he leave?
You didn't see the door open.
I'm just going to slowly walk over to where he slunk off to.
There would be a voice that would pipe up as you're beginning to move. And it's coming from the front desk as the old gnome librarian, as she was taking the time to get a stool, would stand on top of said stool and would point at you, singling you out. Hey! Really? If you're not here to do anything productive, get out!
I'm
sorry, please don't throw him out. He's with us. Mayarks!
I don't know. We could absolutely throw him out, and I would love to see that.
She would push up her glasses and pinch the bridge of her nose. You don't want to know how ridiculous it has been these past couple of days. I don't need another riffraff in my store.
I completely understand, ma'am.
I'm not talking to you, sweetie. I'm talking to the big loudmouth over there in the corner who's terrorizing my customers.
Mayarks,
He is accidentally...
get over here. Get
Calm
over here
yourself.
right now.
I am not talking to you. Ma'am, he is trying to hide the fact that he may have accidentally destroyed the book.
Max, that's not your job. That's the librarians.
You may be interested in it.
Regardless of what happened, accidents are accidents. I didn't see it, but what I did hear was you causing a disruption. I better not hear another one. Understand? Inquisition or not, that doesn't make you better than anyone else.
I do apologize for his behavior. This is the first time he's done something like this.
It is.
Dear, I am so sorry you have to deal with that.
Unfortunately, it's the way the cards are dealt at the Hall of the Inquisition, but I do apologize for that. But now that we have your attention, unfortunately, I do need some help from you.
Unfortunately. Well, of course, what can I do for you?
Well, we're in the market looking for some books. My large friend here is looking for books on craftsmanship, and I'm looking for books on spellcrafting. Would you happen to know of any other titles?
Well, stuff like that's been going kind of quick. But I might be able to find something. It may take a little while. Regrettably, there's not a whole lot of organization left in this shop, despite all of what I've tried to do.
I understand. It seems quite a travesty to see such a library in such a state.
Yes, these are troubling times, but I can understand why people are acting the way they do. Mostly. But, I'll see what I can find. Here. Give me, say, 10 minutes. I'll check the usual spots to see what's still around.
Thank you for your time. Actually gonna reach into my tome of golden chocolate coins and I'm gonna hand her two. They're not what you think, but they are delicious.
Delicious. Oh, what's this? Oh, look at this! Aren't you a sweet thing? Oh, thank you. I needed this. You don't understand. I haven't had my hands on sweets in months. Oh, this is such a treat. Bless your heart.
Please, do take your time. It's no rush at all.
Oh, of course. And feel free to stay as long as you'd like. I'll be sure to do my best to find something relevant for you.
We can read the books while we're waiting, right?
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
And with that, there's an attendant who's off to the side, who's also a gnome, a bit younger, male. Imagine it might be either a grandson or perhaps just an employee who looks similar. And he would take over the front desk, and the librarian, with her short stature, using it to her advantage, would slip through the people and the tight halls and would go off to see what she could find for you guys.
After I see her walk off, I lock dead eye with fucking Mayarks. Just fucking death stare at him.
I'm still looking for this fucking midget.
Oh my god. Alright, well...
That book could be useful! It's actually something!
You know what else is useful? Not being a pain in the ass.
Where is he?
Alright, so how are you going about this? Are you actively storming the shelves looking for this person?
No, I'm just calmly just looking for him.
Okay. This is a small shop, and there's not a lot of places to hide. But sure enough, before long, a good 2 minutes pass by, and you do see that he is slinked against another patron of the bookstore, looking on the shelf, and you can see he has the tome that he previously had in his arms tucked very tightly in his underarm, and he's using his other arm to sift the shelf.
I'm just gonna
very strongly keeping to himself.
I'm just gonna get out a handkerchief. It's like, can we wipe it out before it dries and ruins it?
You're just walking up to him and saying that?
Yes. Just with a handkerchief, just out.
Like while he's out finding this guy, I'm trying to follow the pattern that he just went through.
Okay, I mean, yeah, it's not hard to follow Mayarks, I would argue, and you would be able to close the gap and would see him talking to this this thin lad, and of course the lad who was really hoping not to encounter you again because you scared the shit out of him, he would hear your approach. You're approaching him, speaking to him, and he goes, "Look, just stay away, okay? I'm sorry."
Mayarks, you're scaring the poor boy.
Handkerchief out, just wipe it down at least.
He's, like, very reluctantly, he's taking the free hand, and he's sheepishly, with 2 fingers, pinching the edge of the handkerchief, and is looking to take it from you. And as soon as, I imagine, you let him have it, he takes a good 2 steps away from you. And he doesn't overtly begin cleaning the book, but he just kind of holds it and is looking to you very warily.
How large was his snot rocket?
It was just a sneeze.
Just particles.
Wipe the book, please.
Okay.
Uh,
And he would begin to very awkwardly clean the book while you watch him do it.
Yeah, I think at this point I kind of approached and like, Mayarks.
What was it that Gorak was looking for?
Oh, I'm just
Well,
sitting
you
at a
needn't worry
table.
about that. The librarian's looking for us. Luckily, I got on her good side, so you don't get thrown out. But you need to stop harassing civilians.
I am not
Meanwhile-
harassing anyone.
You just tried to abuse your power with the Inquisition.
And he tried to abuse his power of being small.
At this point, she takes the head of her cane and just knocks Mayarks in the knee.
Ah, why?
There's a solid dunk.
And I'll just
You
point, and I'll point towards the front desk. Go to the front.
You are not my mother.
Go.
I'm very clearly just ignoring her. Is there any books nearby that look interesting?
Casting Mind Sliver on him. Make an intelligence saving throw, Mayarks.
Alright.
Failure.
Okay. Still ignoring you.
Yeah, that's hard to ignore. As Merrick's would be unable to.
1 psychic damage.
As you can see, there is a glimmer from Dagny, and there is suddenly a shooting pain going through your forehead, Mayarks, as the most horrific bout of a headache you've ever felt pierces you. It's as if a small blade just poked you on the head, and you take the 1 psychic damage, and it would subside seconds later.
We are not doing this. Just turn it
Just
in.
move to another aisle, please.
Just
Dagny?
while they're happening, their little Garrick's just sitting, because he's larger than average, at a comically small stool and table. Just reading from his book.
Yep, you are a large roadblock wherever you land yourself in here. So yeah, you try to find a place where you're least in the way, and you see a stool, but ultimately decide that's for gnomes,
Yeah,
and
the floor's fine.
the floor is more than sufficient for you, as the strain of the floorboards supports your weight. And through all of this, the terrified skinny dude is looking at this, and you can see there's a bit of a smirk on his face as Dagny casts Mind Sliver on Mayarks. And you would see through this, now that you have Mayarks' attention, Dagny, there's a little bit of a smile and a nod from him as he slips to a different aisle, getting away from him again.
Dagny, can we not do this?
And if you would just listen to me for 1 goddamn second. You're not in a goddamn arena. You're among people.
Yes, and people need to be a little bit more civil and not...
And using your presence is not going to change that. People are their own people.
Yes, but
Maybe-
it is a little bit hectic, and people need to respect that.
Then you need to learn to also respect space.
Just... Can I even extend my elbows?
You can, but not by a wide margin.
There's not a lot of it in here. Now, if you could give me mine, that would be appreciative.
I turn around to see where the young man went, and I see that he's gone. God damn it. And I'll start looking for him.
This poor fucking midget.
He's a commoner. He's a human, but yeah, he's on the thinner side. He's lanky. He only slipped off to the next aisle, so a quick poke of the head around, you can see that he's over there, and he seems to have returned to his browsing. But he does see you poking out, and he just kind of gives you another light nod. He's not afraid of you at all.
Yeah, I will approach him like, hi, I'm terribly sorry about my compatriot's behavior. He's not usually like that.
Oh, it's okay. I know some people weren't raised right. It's not really their fault.
Though he said the book might be of interest to us. Do you mind if I have a look at it?
Oh, yeah, take a look. It's actually pretty cool. Skimming it before being, interrupted. It's
Or sneezing in it.
orcish smithing techniques, and there's some things here about the different types of armors and how they mesh together, and there's some wrappings here that talk about like the way they would wrap things around the metal so it doesn't corrode the material over it. It's really cool. I was trying to get into it myself. You know, my old man can't get around too good, and it's tough times. So, if ever a skill to pick up, it's something like this. Here, and he would show you. You get a clear view of the Orcsmith Compendium, and getting a skim through, you would see it's an extensive, informative book about Orcish weaponry, armor, and miscellaneous metal items. It's unclear if this is pre-Highshire, but it definitely has traditional techniques that have been passed down through generations.
So you're looking to become a blacksmith?
Yeah, something like that. Or at least access to a smith so I can do my own work. It's just that the smiths are so busy, you know? I'd be rather how to do it myself so I don't have to bother them. Maybe get my own materials if I can afford it, and I could take it on my own hands. And then I could help other people. Yeah, is that the kind of the idea, you know?
Although this book would be of much use to us, I think it's better in your hands.
Hey, it's are you guys are cartographers, right?
That we are.
I don't see many of the people that have the mark of the Inquisition like that. You know, I mean, there's so many places to look around here. I'm sure you guys are short on time. I mean, I don't mind parting with this. I have other Smith books back at home. This was just something else. And just the skimming I've done's already helped me a bit. So,
Sure.
really, I don't mind parting with it. I think that it may make a bigger difference in your hands.
What is your name?
Lars Stanley.
Well, if at any point we do finish this, I'll be sure to find a way to send it back to you.
Yeah, we're not from around here. We're far off. Not too close to the outside walls, but we decided to take a trip here. We're not going to be able to stay. Couldn't afford it, but we're at least getting what supplies we can to be better prepared out there. So, yeah.
You're an outlander?
No, not like that, but a few people that live with us used to be.
I mean, it's just you and your father, you said?
Me, my dad, my aunt, and 3 folks that have kind of... Well, they've been with us for a while. They have some information for, you know, how to survive roughing it. They're good people. It's a shame that they got sent out there like that. But, you know, it's okay, because they're back here now, so... But, yeah, I mean, this book really should go with you. Seriously. And he's, you know, pushing it into your hands. He is actively giving you the Orcsmithing book.
Yeah, she kind of wraps her arms around it. Well, this is greatly appreciated. Oh! Before you go, I'll reach into the tome of chocolate coins and I'll hand him 5. It's not what you think, but they still taste good.
Wow! Where'd you get this?
Well,
Never mind. I'm sure you see all kinds of stuff. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have you actually had one yourself? You probably have. Here, he's unfurling one and he's breaking it in half and he's giving you half.
She gladly takes the half and eats it.
Have you two found anything yet?
Oh, well, something that might be of great use to you, and I'll walk up the aisle. Before I turn around, I'll say, thank you, Lars. And I will take the book over to Garrick.
What's this one?
It's an Orcsmithing book. It actually is quite useful.
Where'd you find this?
Well, Lars actually found it.
Who?
But it's actually quite detailed. You could use something like this.
Who's Laws?
Oh,
That was the name.
the young man that Mayarks was.
It's gonna take the book and take a look through it. Obviously it's hard to tell his reaction because, you know, he's wearing the mask, but his
Yeah.
head does raise a little bit as he looks through some of the smithing texts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's a
You
man
w-
like that looking at a book like this for?
Well,
This is
his
pretty
family was.
advanced.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of. His family's been kind of falling on hard times. He says he has other books. He's trying to learn the trade, and he doesn't really want to bother other blacksmiths with them being so busy and everything, so... I can admire stuff like that.
Bring him over here.
Lars!
He kind of pokes it up. What's up?
This poor
Where?
kid.
You can see she says that with a mouthful of chocolate. It's pretty evident he's never had this before because it's getting all over his fingers and he's like half realizing it and he's trying to use the wrapper to kind of clean himself off and he doesn't want to touch
I'll use prestidigitation to clean him up.
You'd see his eyes widen as his hands illuminate and are suddenly clean. He looks down at his hands, back up to you and does a triple take. He's like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I should learn to do that too.
It'll take a lot of hard work. Anyways, this is my compatriot, Carrick. He, has experience in the forge.
Whew, big guy. Hey.
Hi. You were looking at this book.
Yeah. Picked up a thing or two from just skimming it. It's pretty cool. You guys can definitely use it, especially if you're a smith. I think this is kind of meant to be.
Might I ask why it is you're looking at this book?
Well, that one in particular, I mean, I wanted to get better at it, really.
So, you're looking to be a smith?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of trying to pick up a bunch of useful things at the same time, you know? Do they call that a king of all trades or something?
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's the one. So, a bit of smithing, a bit of writing, a bit of carpentry. Just stuff that could help, you know, keep a house going when, you know, the world's crashing down on us.
Well, do you have the tools for doing this sort of work yet?
Well, we've scraped together some things, a lot of hand-me-down stuff. When people move out of their homes, they tend to leave a lot of stuff behind, so I don't feel too bad about picking up what they drop. It's a working collection. It's pretty good.
Well, I'm far from one to there's a way of saying it, but do you believe in faith?
Oh, I've never really had the time of day to just sit and think about that sort of stuff. I'm a little more practical, you know? That's why I'm trying to pick up skills.
Well, I'm much the same. But, since you already know that we're cartographers, I do have a forge that, unfortunately, due to my work, goes widely unused most of the day. If you are looking for a place to practice, and you don't mind the upkeeping of such a place, while I'm not around, I could have free use of such the forge. It comes stocked with tools and everything you could want for such a thing. And quite frankly, I just feel bad that I don't get to use it as much as I should.
Dang, really? You just let me use it like that? That's really nice of you. Thank you. I really like that. I don't know how long I have because we have to go back to the back to our homestead. It's a bit of a ways out there. So where actually is this place?
It's close to the upper walls. Perhaps I should show you. We're about to head out. Funnily enough.
All right.
If you would like to, I'm always happy to help someone who's wanting to learn the forge, and, well, no better place to do that than with an actual forge.
That's a good point.
Which homestead are you staying at, by the way?
Me?
No, Lars.
Well, there's some of those, like, makeshift shelters that they put up, so we're renting one of those, kind of just have our caravan under there, and it's a little place to simmer down and sleep. We're probably going to be here for, like, maybe another, like, 2 days, 3 days, and then we're heading back to our house. We don't want to be out away for too long. This is really just to kind of stock up and get important stuff and then get back to it, you know?
these shelters, do you remember where they were located?
I could point it out. And he would do so. They're towards the interior, but not quite. Kind of a good, at least within like the inner ring. There's a number of towns that have their open town squares set up with these. He goes on to describe and show where it is that they have these large tents that are erected where people can, for a small fee, stay in there. And they basically there's like a task force in there that tends to them, gives them meals and takes care of their bedding and things like that.
Right.
It's like a makeshift inn.
Good to know. But sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying, Garrick.
Well, like I said, if you're in and about, there is a forge that would be unused, and, well, maybe if you use it, you could gather some money, and perhaps you would have a better time than out in the place where you are now.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think I might be able to make the hike out to where you are, assuming that, yeah, I could get in. Yeah, there's a...
That shouldn't be an issue. Spare key is not hard to make. The only thing I ask in return is that you keep it well maintained, you know?
You see him nod his head very adamantly. Of course. Thank you so much. Really, I can't be away for too much longer, but this has been really great. Like, this is better than any book I could have picked up. Really, thanks. Yeah, I have some of my tools. I can bring them, so I don't have to dirty yours. I'm sure that you have bigger tools for bigger hands. I'm not really that size, so yeah.
Yeah, they are a little bit bigger, but nothing nobody couldn't use with a little bit of practice.
All right, that's great. Your name was Garrick?
Yes.
And you were I'm sorry. What was I didn't catch your name. Just looking at you.
My name is Dagny Silverhide.
Silverhide. That's a nice name. Well,
Should be.
It's been good meeting you two. And whatever cartography stuff you're doing out there, make sure you come back, okay? Once you do the whole save the world thing, you would probably want to live in the world you saved, you know?
Well, I don't plan on leaving it anytime soon, if that's any consolation.
Yeah. Maybe afterwards I could, you could teach me a thing or two behind the forge.
That'd be pretty fun.
And with that, he would give a bit of a nod, and he begins to head towards the door. He gives one last look over the shoulder and would wave towards the two of you. And you can see he's doing a full 360 observation of the place to make sure that there's no loud people in his way for what would be the third time before he goes out the door.
Congratulations, you've got an apprentice.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well done.
That was the whole goal, and fantastic. I now have one. Awesome.
You have abducted a child.
Well, no, at any point
well.
you can leave. In fact, this is way better than most middle-age apprenticeships.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was surprisingly interesting.
This is the first abduction that went well.
You would feel something slip past your lower calf, Garrick, given your size, as the librarian would kind of come into view at the tail end of this, as she looks and goes, "Oh, you beat me to it! That's actually the one I was hoping we still had. Kind of surprised."
Well, a lovely gentleman was just having a fine conversation with us and passed it along, so...
Oh, it's strange how that works, huh?
Nice-looking book, actually.
Oh, it's one of the older ones. We keep those usually towards the top shelf, so I can see why you had no problem getting it.
I have to keep that in mind if I come pick you again.
Yes. As for you, sweetheart, I did find something that could be useful. Here you are. And there's a small tome that she's handing you. And this thing it almost looks like a tiny little flip book. It's not even it's very on the small side. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have any perceivable title until you at least open up the main page, and you would gather that is Fireside Techniques. And it seems to be book for the arcanely inclined for the manipulation of fire through cantrips such as fire bolts, or how to weave fire in a similar fashion, which is useful for learning higher tier spells. It's about semantics, somatics, the works, and essentially how culture has evolved along with these techniques over time.
Interesting read. I will definitely take this then. Along with these other two, I'll put down the Ravings of Garbus and the animated Apocrypha. Mayox!
What?
Did you find anything you want?
Not really.
Alright. If I remember correctly, showing our Inquisition gives us a discount of some kind? As I show her my Inquisition badge.
I'll write down the things that you're taking, and for you, dearie, just take it. I'll deal with the price negotiations with the Inquisition later. Better to have these in the hands of a cartographer than someone who may not use it for something as practical.
Oh, I couldn't possibly. You're so kind.
Not at all. You're working to save everybody just like everyone else is doing their parts, and if we don't do that, we're not going to have a town to save, so take it, please.
Please, tell me your name and the name of your shop, please.
My name is Gerta, and this is Gerta's Shops of the Curious Pages.
I would definitely remember that. Thank you so much, Gerta.
Anytime, dear.
And, I will... Garrick, do we need anything else? Should we go?
No, I think I've pretty comprehensively found what I was looking for.
Mayox, if you're still looking, we're gonna wait outside.
I'm just gonna put the joke book back, and I'm just going to head out.
All right. And is there any other actions there, or are you heading out?
Cursory glance for a history book?
Sure. Make a investigation check as you're wrapping it up. This is a bit of a quickie, so.
Investigation. 6. No.
All right. Let's see here. All right.
You end up in the kids section.
Again.
Let's see what I got here.
That was just an investigation. Do you actually want to do 100 as well?
Well, with the investigation check of 6, unfortunately, finding a specific useful history book you aren't able to come across, but there's a bunch of other odd knickknacks that are unrelated. If you want to invest in those, you can certainly roll a D100.
Nah. Nothing that really of any importance to me, so.
All right. Well, with that, you would all get your final collection of things. Make sure you're adding to your inventories the books that you're taking, and you're wrapping things up. You and Gerda would get everything finalized. She's writing down what you're taking. The Inquisition thing is getting organized. And as you're getting ready to leave, you would notice that there are little chandeliers up top that are hanging off of chains. And there would be just the lightest of tremors that would gently shake one of them. Rhythmic and continuous, and they're getting increasingly louder as you begin to not only feel but hear outside. There's the methodical stamping of something huge outside with a...
I'm gonna look towards the direction. I'm looking for the origin.
You would look outside, and you can see that people are kind of moving to the sides of the streets as this methodical banging would continue. As you see through the windows, there's huge metallic legs that are stamping in unison. As you can see, there are the giant automatons of the Shire Guard elite moving through the streets. There appears to be 4 of them. There's a couple of elites moving along with them with purpose in a direction that you would imagine is towards the outside of the Inner Kingdom.
I'm kind of trailing behind them, seeing which way they're going or where they're going towards.
So they're heading southbound, and they're heading towards the edge of the Inner Kingdom. It looks like there's a small patrol that specializes with the the automatons. You can see that these elite have like service packs on them that have a range of tools as they're heading more south.
Seems patrols are getting us stronger a bit.
Oh, not the first time that my shop has been rattled.
Does worry me though.
What, that they're preparing for an even bigger war?
I don't know what it is, but never mind. Let's just go as she heads for the door.
And out the door, I assume the three of you are heading.
Yep.
Excellent. And
I
with
finally
that,
stand properly again.
oh yeah, that feels good. It's like you were sitting inside of a tiny box for the better part of an hour, and you just came
you
out,
could-
and now you can fully stretch, and there's
Yeah,
not anything
hear, like,
anyone can
just
do about it.
The clicks that come from just stretching his spine, just.
Oh, it's always so satisfying.
And that would bring us to Rin as we switch gears. There we are. Let me see here. There we are. As you re-enter the Hall of the Inquisition once again, the sun is beginning to set, and the low, dwindling golden rays of sunshine would still hit these beautiful, prismatic, stained glass windows that would ricochet off the chandeliers and cast this refracted light that would bounce across these large halls. And of course, the magically stoked dancing of the sconces would kind of reflect this light with a golden hue to accent all of the spectrum of colors along with it. It's very unique the way they set this up. It's very intentionally done. There's a similar commotion between scholars and the occasional inquisitor that are going about their business. There's little side tables that are lining these large halls for more minor appointments, and you can see people meeting with them, and there's a trading of information, parchments, tomes, the works. There's no shortage of things to do around here.
Yeah, I believe you did mention at some point there was kind of a directory desk, like a front desk.
Yes, if you follow the main hall, it goes towards a central area where people can have appointments or some form of meeting with officials established.
Yeah, I'll hit there, definitely.
You would. And even now in the setting sun, it's still a bit of a wait, as there's a good 3 or 4 people ahead of you when you find the shortest line. It would take about 5 or 10 minutes before you can get to the front. You can see there's a well-presented man with slicked-back hair and these large glasses and a very stoic expression who is very quickly writing down a series of things, seemingly wrapping up the last of the business that from the person before you. You can see the speed of his penmanship with the quill is quite remarkable, the fastest you've ever seen someone write. As he shuffles things in within seconds of having a bunch of parchments in front of him, they are shoved to the side, perfectly organized. The quill goes back into the well, and he's looking at you expectantly with folded hands and says, "Yes."
Cartographer Team 26. I'm here to turn in a requisitions form and also inquire about any workshops available for cartographers such as myself.
Tinkering station, perhaps? Smithing tools? Forge?
All would be useful.
Can accommodate
to
all.
me.
All right. Give me just a moment. And he's shuffling a bunch of things around. Looks like there's a bit of a charted schedule that he's checking. And you can see that there's paperwork for almost every room within the Hall of the Inquisition. He would go to a very specific one as if he had committed the exact location of the paperwork for the forge to memory. He puts it out and his finger would scroll to a specific spot. You imagine he's checking a date, and looks over a few things. Don't have anybody scheduled to use this for the immediate time slots. Given the success of Patrol 26, word gets around fast, by the way. Excellent work. We're counting on you guys. I can certainly accommodate to have you use the room. As for the requisition list, I can take that off your hands, as he lends out a hand, which I imagine you're handing him the form.
Of course.
And with speed, not even looking where he's putting it, it would be tucked away, folded into an envelope. The envelope will be tucked away into a slot off to his side. Doesn't even need to look where he's putting it. It's this methodical precision that he has, while he's, with the other hand, writing down something on the chart that he took out, seemingly penciling you in to have access to the forge.
This is
Will that
what
be all?
working at McDonald's does for 40 years.
And I assume, you have no further business with him?
No, I suppose would obviously direct me to where the fuck it is.
Yes, he would give you directions where you go down the hall and make a series of turns.
Yeah. I'll give him a nod of thanks and fuck off and leave him to his work.
Yep. And before you're even fully turned around and walking off, you can see that with a single sweep of the hand, that paperwork is filed away and he's already beckoning the next person.
I applaud his efficiency. Wow.
And off you would go. There's a bunch of Shire Guard that are moving in formation throughout the halls, being redirected to who knows where. Various other instances of business taking effect. You can see there's a small group of people who stand out from the nature of the Inquisition that are walking along. You imagine that's probably another cartographer patrol. They're being escorted by an Inquisitor, and they're going off towards an adjoining room before the doors would close. You can see, as you pass them by and get kind of to the closest point, they're about 20 feet off, you can see that a lot of them are battle-scarred. One of them has gashes that are along his back, and you can see that there's a bit of a shoddy patch job that has been done to sustain the wounds from bleeding, although you know that a wound like that is definitely going to take a good amount of time to properly dress, and taking those bandages off is going to be very painful. It seems like you're not the only one who gets beat up outside the walls. And then continuing forward, you would follow the man's instructions, would arrive at an offshoot room that is relatively clear, given there's no immediate business, and your eyes would fall upon wonders to a forge you have yet to observe previously. Its forge is in pristine condition, not even signs of traces of soot along the edges of the fires. The coals have a similar iridescent shine to them as the prismatic glass windows. You're not really sure what material they use. The fire that is stoking this forge is a greenish blue. Probably some sort of fire magic, you would imagine. Hard to say. The tools that line this place is a circular room, and just above your headspace, there's a long line of hooks that would run the entire length of this room, with a number of tools for smithing, hammers, claws, and vices, and things that you couldn't even name that are so specifically made that you imagine there's almost a tool for every sort of contraption ever devised in Highshire. Suffice to say, you have quite the room in here to work as you see fit. Tinkering, forge work, or otherwise.
Yeah, I'll close the door behind me. And, this is like a private workshop I can make use of with no distractions or anything.
Oh no.
It's a large thing, and the large double doors would suggest there's a lot of in and out business, but given that what the receptionist told you, you should be able to have the place to yourself unabated. So you are able to close those doors.
Good.
And you are alone.
Yeah, I'll immediately set to work on removing the damaged tank from my back and begin preparations to drain it and begin the repairs for it, while also here and there simultaneously removing bits and bobs of steel, wires, knickknacks, parts that I've amassed thus far, and laying them out precisely on the table. Ready. Everything neat, efficient, at a 90-degree angle at the table.
Oh yeah.
Your character's OCD, oh god.
Oh, it has to be.
And yeah, the first order of business I'm doing after getting everything nice and set out is repairing the tank and then moving on to the two other things that I messaged you about a while ago. I could refresh your memory if you like.
Please.
Right.
Let me see here.
Repair the tank. Then I wish to attempt to create a device that mimics my tinkering ability. Specifically to allow other people, let me ping it for you. I wish to create a device that mimics my magical tinkering ability. Specifically, that allows people to create a static visual effect on an object surface. And I wish to make this in such a way that somebody can touch this device and essentially put the image in their mind's eye through this device that will then kind of print it on a piece of parchment.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Now, the tinkering tools in here combined with the abundance of raw materials would definitely allow for you to create something like this, as well as the available materials that you've been amassing throughout your travels. What was the other thing you're going to make?
The second thing is essentially leg braces that have, I would say, I'm just going to spit technobabble, I suppose, that I would say have gyros almost at the joints to be worn exteriorly over clothing and essentially help steady legs and encourage fluid movement by essentially inferring the intention of the legs movement and using the mechanical gyros and gears and such to aid in that.
Okay. So something that is grafted effectively onto the legs and strengthens the legs' movements.
Yes. And obviously helps stability. Obviously, it's something that can be removed and put on with a fair amount of ease. Or at least that's what I'm intending it for it to be.
Okay. Let's see. So, with those two crafts, go ahead and make 2 Arcana rolls. This will determine the nature of success on creating these two.
Alright.
And a 3.
Wow. All right. So, for the first object that you're creating, you go through a number of different ideas on your head here. You're initially thinking that you want something that can automatically imprint onto parchment a description, a drawing of something that someone is thinking of. You need to think about how to transfer the image, the mental image conjured in someone's head along their body in some capacity, through their head or through arms of some kind, to interface with a device that can then make sense of this thought process and then has its own ability to recreate that thought on a different medium. So this is some pretty advanced stuff. So it's definitely going to take a little bit of prototyping, you think. And you initially...
It definitely, sorry to interrupt you, but if it definitely requires a lot more time, I would definitely focus on that more and kind of waylay the other side project.
Well, you see, you crit. So, you would play with this for a little while, and you go through the drawers of available half-assembled little trinket somethings that the Inquisition has accommodated you with, and you find 2 pieces that shatter your initial concept, and within playing around with these 2, you instantly rethink the design and have a stroke of brilliance. And you find this stone, this crystalline focus that you imagine is some sort of arcane foci used for spells. And you would entertain the idea with using a little bit of magic latency and find that magic that is sent into one end of the crystal is shot out of the other with a similar crystalline effect as what you've seen in the lights of the Inquisition. And you have a bit of a aha moment inspired by the diffraction of light through all of the crystalline windows in the Inquisition. You think that you could use the right type of magic, the right magical frequency input to go through this crystal and project an image on the other side, like the minor illusion spell. You would take a second piece of tech that is almost like a pair of handles, and they are very conductive. And the real trick here is working with these handles to interface with a mind that is grasping them. And due to this crit, you're able to, through brevity's sake of not getting into the technical aspect of things, you're able to combine this projection crystal with this set of handles, where someone, if they grasp the handles very tightly and think hard on an object, person, place, anything, and interface with this, they're able to project what they're thinking through the crystal, and they can create a minor illusion.
Better than I hoped for. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically a device that lets someone cast minor illusion, per se. Or silent image, rather, because, I mean, this thing can go up to about, I'm going to say, 5 feet in a cube.
Hmm. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so you have the, I'm going to just call it the projection device, or the illusion device. Good to be worked with. As for the legs, you get a framework started, but you are so distracted with your stroke of brilliance with the other device that you don't quite finish this. However, you get some sturdy braces made in the rough shape of legs. You take some time because you didn't think that you model this after your own body and realize halfway through, wait a minute, people have different sized legs, need to reintroduce some adjustability to it. It's not a finished device because it still needs a way to be powered, per se, to actually augment movements, as well as interpret the movements. There's still some interface between the movements of this brace and the thoughts that someone makes when they wish to walk. So you have the start of a device, you just need to spend more time on it. So the leg braces are a work in progress.
Yeah, it's essentially I'm focused on getting these damn things to work. And... you know, all the other shit of the day, all the information I've learned, and all this crazy shit's just bouncing around in my head as I'm working. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a long while.
Very well. You would lose yourself in your work, and the success of the first invention is eventually faded as you are increasingly enraptured in the frustration of the second, which opens a bottle in your head that you totally forgot was even there, as the stress of everything else that you've experienced in the past day is winding in your head and is something of a whirlwind that is making it hard to concentrate. And that would consume a great sum of time.
I imagine I'm making, like, misplaced measurements. I'm doing a wrong cut on a part, therefore kind of ruining it and having to start over a piece.
And that frustration is compounding with the frustration already there and is getting progressively worse as it's becoming a bit of a shit shoot. Is there any other actions from you, really?
Other than angrily trying to get this shit to work in the privacy of this workshop for the foreseeable future now.
All right. And with that, the night would come. And the sun sets over Highshire. Let me get back to the kingdom here. The three others would step out into the night streets. And you have the rest of the evening to spend as you see fit.
So what are you two going to do with it for the evening?
Well, suppose we can make our way over to the Singing Rings.
I'm tempted to leave a note there for Rin, because I'm thinking I'm going to start walking to my house. I don't know what I'm going to have to do tomorrow, and I'd like to see my family today.
I mean, are they close by?
Probably not too close. I mean, I'll just stay there for the night and then head here in the morning.
The Inquisition were rather strict on the time limit I had this half of the orb for, so I'm going to have to spend the night doing
yeah,
that.
you did say that. Yes, go deal with that.
If you would like to join, you feel free. Just, well, I mean, I could tell you what that
Well, I
is.
don't want to be at the end by myself, so I'll just go with you.
All right then.
Merrick's, be safe, please.
Just walking off.
And don't cause any more trouble, please.
I mean, you do know who you are talking about, correct?
I just look at him deadpan.
He's already walking away.
I was looking at Garrett.
Oh.
I've not known you all for that long, but Mirix seems to have trouble as a middleman.
I suppose in a way I see him kind of the way I see my brothers, like, because I'm a little bit smaller and weak, I can at least tell them to not get into trouble and move away when they need to, but he's like a mule.
That's rude.
Well, shall we then? And with that, I guess I'll head to what did I end up calling it? I'll guess I will be heading to the Henson's residence.
All right. And Dagny's coming along?
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. I think this is a good point to take our 10/15 minute break because I really have to use the bathroom. If that's fine with
Same.
everybody else. You want to do
Yep.
a 10 or 15?
15's good.
All right. We will reconvene at roughly like 8:03, 8:04.
Alrighty.
Until then.
Yeet.
Pause the recording.
I am not here.
Yes.
Are any of us really here?
We're a speck on a speck on a speck on a
Speck on a speck.
The only person who's really here is me, obviously, because I'm cool.
Okay.
I mean, if it makes you feel better.
All right. All right.
We're
So,
Gucci.
yes. Continuing on from when we left off, where we have Garruk and Dagny, who are moving through the streets to arrive at, it was the Hensons, was it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, and Henson's was on the outside of the interior, so it's going to be a little bit of a hike for you to get there.
Ah, well, nothing that I'm not used to doing.
And Mayarks, remind me where you're off to.
Home.
Home!
Home.
That's very far.
That's very far.
Yep.
Okay,
We're gonna be very far away from each other.
I see.
Yep.
All right. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Before we get too far into it, we will have. Let's see. I forgot to mention, Rin, while you were working your magic in the forge, a good hour or so into working on things, you would have Seeker return to you, and of course, Seeker has the know-how on how to navigate through. And imagine your connection between you and the bot would allow you to get to navigate, and there'd be, through your increasing frustration, a metal tink on the door, signifying that Seeker is there. There's a little mental ping there as well.
Door
How's the progress on the bracers?
So you've gotten them roughly assembled, but given that Dagny isn't here, you don't really know how big you're supposed to make them, even though they have some adjustability. And as far as carrying a current through them to augment movements, that's where you're having your frustrations, given the bad roll.
Yeah. I'll go ahead, open the door. Go ahead and dispel the previous messages that were adhered to Seeker, and create a new one, and go send it to fetch Dagny.
I see. All right.
Yeah. Isn't the problem with that is no one's going to the singing ring?
That is a bit of an issue, given you.
We
though
all-
they did.
I
You
was
did
gonna
say they were
say
going to the
that.
bookstore. You did say they were going to the bookstore, so you could.
And to meet up at the singing ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no
We're all
one's
done
heading
with
there.
To be fair, we didn't say when, just when we were kind of all done with our shit.
Yeah. So it's your call on how you want to send your drone. You know they went to the bookstore, and you know they said to meet at the singing ring afterwards.
Yeah, I'll definitely... Because I imagine they're definitely somewhere in or around the inner city, because they can't have gotten far. I'll definitely have Seeker check out. I imagine I've been at work at some time, and being in the library doesn't take too much time. It takes like 30 minutes in and out to find a book you like. It'll go check out the singing ring, and if it can't find them, Seeker will just roam around high up in the air, searching for Dagny.
All right. Roll perception on Seeker.
Alright. Yeah, and as I send Seeker back off, I'm moving back to my workplace, back to it.
Oh.
Well, that's rough.
Aw, damn.
Seeker, having its mission and having the places to go, would accept it just like the previous job, where it would head off and, using your mental mapping, would head towards the singing ring, where it again is projecting the fact that it is a member of a cartographer patrol, and the gawking eyes, curious about the floating orb demon thing in the night, are still a little bit wary, even with that message being broadcast. It would move inside of the singing ring, busting the door open very forcefully because it has no mannerisms, and a lot of the crowd would stop to observe this thing that is spouting off how it's part of a cartographer patrol.
Yeah.
You would see the barkeep.
I suppose I would have updated the message saying cartographer team 26 drone, do not disturb.
Yeah. The barkeep would be looking up and would recognize the familiarity of Team 26, and he kind of gives a bit of an acknowledging expression. As for the rest of the patrons who are not so familiar, they give the drone a bunch of strange stares.
Yeah.
Before the drone would spend some time there and would see that nobody from Team 26 is there. And with that, it abruptly leaves and begins to patrol the inner streets.
I do like how
fruitlessly.
it's just like bursting into places, like refuses to elaborate, leaves.
God. And given the nat 1, it would spend quite a bit of time aimlessly wandering the streets, never encountering Garrick or Dagny because they are not going near there. Meanwhile, it looks like Merrick's and Garrick and Dagny are roughly heading in the same direction, but it would split off where Garrick and Dagny are heading more northbound, and you would need to go through the gate of the inner walls to get to the larger kingdom, and would need to trek out a little ways in order to get to Garrick's place of residence. And through the night, of course, the commotion of people who are resident to the inner kingdom and people who are visiting for a number of reasons. This city never truly sleeps. And you have to get through a number of refugees and different people going about their business, even in the nighttime. Roll perception, both of you.
Okay.
So I'll keep this short so you can get to your destination, but as you have to take some time to hail a cart, given that that would greatly speed things up. You figured that the time it takes to hail one would make up for the time you would otherwise spend walking. And you do manage to hail one down. You present the seal of the Inquisition, to which the driver would give an acknowledging nod, writes down your info, and off you go. Within about an hour, hour and a half's time, you are out through Inner High Shire, back to the kingdom proper, and eventually would arrive at a settlement that is not too far away, but is definitely a good distance. There we are. And before long, having been weary from travel and was waiting for this long day to finally be over with everything that happened between being with Patrol 63, Sadrius, Obosh, and everything that Obosh said when he came back to life, and then witnessing the miracle on top of that, and then perusing a bookstore as if nothing extraordinary had just happened moments prior. It all reels in your heads and makes you feel a bit disoriented and a bit disconnected. And for Garrick, as you roll up to the Henson's estate, you can't help but also feel that disconnect, given that it's been very strange. A lot of firsts. But before long, you would roll up, and you can see the familiar soft glow of the windows being illuminated by torchlight as you make it to your estate, where you are residing.
Oh, here we are. It's not the biggest house around, and I live primarily in the below floor area. But whenever guests are coming by, it's good graces to let them know that you're coming. So, would you like to meet the owners of this place?
Certainly.
Well, they are elves, so I doubt they're asleep at this point, so let's go and see. So I'm gonna walk up to the door. Well, I assume I have one of the keys to let myself in.
You do.
And I'm just gonna open the door.
You do so. And you would step into the familiar home that you had left behind after becoming a cartographer. Bit of a smaller residency, and feels even smaller given that you are a large individual.
Yes.
And remind me, is this purely a residence or is this an inn of sorts?
It's a residence, but they do use the main area as a sort of little small shop when they do have things to sell.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this main area has a few scattered things from business that had been taking effect. They don't usually run this late, so you imagine with the crazy times, they have a bunch of work on their plate. as you enter.
Ailman, Tyrael, are either of you here?
There would be a calling out from a far reach as you hear the voice of Aelmon calling out, Garrick, is that you?
That would
Garrick?
I also have a guest.
Garrick and a guest!
I know.
Oh! Wait there!
Alright.
You seem quite jovial.
Oh, yes. Ailman's... Well, you'll see.
You would see Aelmon, a older elf male who has these glasses and definitely has a bunch of kind of this apron on. You can see that about the business that's taking place. He still hasn't quite gotten out of his attire for the day. He would round the corner and with wide shining eyes would lay eyes on Garrick, and he would extend both arms upwards towards the ceiling in an exclamation of jovial relief. You're back! Oh my god! You have no idea how much we worry about you outside there. All the stuff that we hear, all the people that come in, they say, all the stuff that is, people are just houses are being destroyed, and people are dying, and the guards, oh, bless their hearts, are just going out, all this stuff. And I'm thinking, how is Garrick doing out there? How is he gonna survive? Or it's good to see you, you know?
It's good to see you too. And, I have some help while I'm out there, so, it's not just me.
Oh, who's this pretty little thing that you brought? Hey, you can stay as long as you like. A friend of Garrick is a friend of mine. I am Aelmon Hinson. And...
Dagny is going to do, like, a very formal curtsy and give a very polite Elvish greeting in Elvish. And introduce herself. My name is Dagny Silverhide.
Well educated. Of course, quite the first impression you know how to make. Oh, yes. I wish you could meet Tyrael, but he is off, unfortunately. He'll be back. Frankly, I'm not sure he'll be back tonight. Business got quite harsh with training everyone in terms of how to use a bow and arrow, and, well, it just hasn't slowed down. So, he's off making a difference while I housekeep.
Well, it's not like you don't do nothing around the house either. I mean, I'm sure you've sold more than a couple of potions already while I've been gone.
Yeah, it does seem like you've been quite busy.
Oh, everyone's busy. It never seems to stop. And I can take being busy. That's not really a problem for me. What I can't take is just seeing broken spirits walk into my door.
Yeah, it's not very good. But,
no.
I have good news.
I'm all ears.
My new cartographer crew, everyone made it back in one piece, only a couple of scratches here and there. And we also managed to bring back a whole nother cartographer crew, nearly entirely intact, so things have gone really well this time.
Minus the dead
bless
ones.
Ula. Yes. I had faith. I knew you wouldn't have any trouble, but you'd see everything that's going on and you can't help but wonder and think, and then your thoughts betray you, and then it just gets really bad.
Well, everything worked out well this time.
This time? Ooh, don't use words like that. You're gonna keep me worrying even more.
Well, you know that I'm the best at choosing those. Anyway, how about we take a seat then and talk a bit? How things been around here? I mean, I know we've been busy, but has things actually been okay?
Well, there's never a dull moment, as I said. And every day seems to be harder than the last one, in some sort of way. If not for me, then for the people that are coming in. And you see, we're not too far from the inner wall, but we're not too far from the outer one either. And it almost seems like Highshire's a shrinking circle from everything I've heard. You've seen how big those walls are. To think that something can knock them down, I'm not sure there's anything that I could whip up in my shop or any bow and arrow that we could instruct someone how to use to really stop something like that. It just gets me thinking, what could actually change this very dark turn that we're taking?
Well, we're making some good strides. So, I mean, turns out there are just natural buildings outside the walls that we've come across lately that just are almost indestructible. Can't talk about it in too much detail, Inquisitor stuff, and you know how they're like, but there are strong forces out there, surprisingly.
Yeah, I believe it. What about you, dear? How have things been for you? I mean, you surviving out there. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but you seem it's surprising to see you're able to handle yourself out there so well. I mean, there's clearly more to you than meets the eye.
Oh, that's what everyone tells me. I mean, I'm not as big and strong as Garrick is, but my spell casting capabilities are quite well.
The arcanely trained. That is always a fun thing to know about. Yeah, I have no doubts. And you know what? That makes you all the smarter. Well, not just for knowing about how the arcane practices work, but showing your cards. Someone takes a look at Garrick and they know what he's all about. It needs no introduction. But you, withholding what you can do, that's a very strong, very, very good thing to have. Very good. Knowledge is power, they say.
It is.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to think about all the stuff that happens out there, but no matter what, I'm always stuck here. And I used to hate that, but now I don't know. Maybe it's a blessing that I just can't appreciate.
Well, next time that I go out, because inevitably it'll make me do it again, is there anything you want me to keep an eye out for you? I mean,
not particularly.
I'm sure there's something to take your mind.
Don't you worry about me. No. We can handle ourselves here. This is it's a small shop, Garrick. You know that. Smaller for you.
I know it's a smaller shop, but I do also like to help you out. And if you want something from out there, and you might not be able to go and get it, I'm just saying, if I happen to come across it, if you feel free to let me know.
I'll think on it. But you should probably focus on saving the world out there rather than doing other things.
Well, there is a couple of things that I need to look at, so I will be heading downstairs. But I thought I'd come in, say hello, and tell you that yes, I am still alive.
You know what? That's pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. I have some reagents to mash together and a few things to tuck away neatly, so I'll be wrapping up my work here. If you ever do see a flower out there that has blue tips and a pink center with little feelies in the center that have the slightest of shimmers, pick that for me. Those are hard to come across.
Yeah, I can keep an eye out for something like that. I'm sure Dagny, she has quite the eye too, so we'll try and find you something.
I can definitely keep a lookout for something like that.
Off in the cupboard, there's plenty to eat if you wish to re-up your stomachs, and I'll probably take something there myself and simmer down. It's been a long day, and maybe just sit and don't keep it hush-hush, but I think I'll just watch the sky. It's been illuminated. You see all that crazy, wondrous, whatever it is up there. It's nice to look at.
Well, I'm probably going to be up for a bit of late time anyway. You make sure to actually take some rest now.
Of course. And I mostly kept your forge tidy.
You didn't need to do that.
Well, it's good to keep my mind busy, and if it doesn't get busy, it starts thinking. If it starts thinking, it starts worrying, it starts working. It's bad.
Yes, you're a workaholic.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, I'm gonna go do the thing I said I was gonna do. You can do your thing. And continuing to babble to himself a little bit, he goes off on his way, wrapping things up.
Yeah, just gesturing to follow Garrick. Basically, he heads down a set of stairs into that little underground, basement floor, basically.
Yeah,
and it's a full workshop.
Dagny's kind of taking her time with the stairs a bit since they're a little bit more difficult for her.
Yeah, these are a bit larger steps, considering that most of what you're going to see down here was built for Garrick. So you take your time to carefully climb down. It's a very steep set of steps. It's almost ladder-like, but not quite.
Dexterity save.
Not quite.
Not quite. It takes a little while. And there's surprisingly something of a small draft down here, despite it being effectively an underground workshop. And as you get down here, you can hear the soft rattling of chains as a chill would wash over you, as you're definitely going into a dip in temperature as you enter Garrick's workshop proper.
The bang zone.
Well, feel free to make yourself comfortable. It is mostly made of stone, but that's mostly what's available around
The
here.
forge of self-reliance.
Pretty much, yeah. Like out of view, there is like a more like comfortable area. There is like actually a bed made for Garrick. It's pretty basic, but it is a wooden frame and all that. And there is a more comfortable chair to sit at for like reading and stuff like that. And it is cordoned off so that if you wanted to, you could have it be private. But most of it is just like that, and it is nice and cool until he starts lighting up the forge. At which point, it does get a bit warmer.
Kind of a cold trek down?
Well, back in, before I came here, I used to live up in the mountains, and cold was comfortable. Understandably, if you don't mind that too much, then I can just heat the forge up a bit. I don't mind either.
I mean, you have to do your work anyway, right?
Yeah. So, of the books that we picked up, which one's the one you're most interested in? Which one's like the least, I suppose?
I'm gonna use it as kindling.
I mean, I'd like to be able to look through all of these first. I mean, wish I... I mean, I know you need the Orcsmith compendium, so...
Well, the way that I do, I suppose, well, you're a magical person, so you probably understand this better than most. My rituals to the god above are a bit different to most people's in the city. And usually as my offering to them, I usually give some sort of knowledge, which is why I was asking you to help me look for books. Which is why I ask, because usually I end up giving the book over to them. That sort of thing. All that spiritual good stuff.
Are you telling me you burn books?
Not quite, no. See, you've seen that ability that I have that lets me, craft things, regardless of where we are, however I am, right?
I may have glanced at you once or twice, but yes.
Well, the reason why I'm able to do that is from this ritual. Through giving over this knowledge, that knowledge becomes permanently available to me through that ability. When it comes to crafting, at the very least, I don't necessarily need to know about it in order to form it into being, if that makes sense.
Right.
And using this book, I guess, using a book, rather, is my way of paying for that and showing my loyalty.
And you'll always have access to it.
Yes. Like, for instance, the Orcish smithing text. It's a meaty thing, and I do agree with you that it is sad to lose this knowledge on the material plane, but when it comes to my immaterial magics, I suppose, they will sort of be forever strengthened, and the art never dies as a result.
She will hold out the book to him with both hands and say, then let's make sure it lives on.
All right then. Understandably for this, it is. Well, you're a quiet person anyway. If Mirix was here, it would be a bit more of an issue. But for this,
All this is more than I can understand. You do what needs to be done.
all right. Well, you by all means make yourself comfortable. Do some study. I will just be doing my little ritual then.
Yes.
And,
She is going to go ahead and go sit over at the nearby sitting table. And, well, considering she's near a forge, she's going to pull out the Fireside Techniques book.
You would do so. And pulling out this stool, it ends up taking a little more force than you initially anticipate, given that this is a very heavy-set stool built for someone that's slightly larger. And there's definitely a lot of weight to this. You can see, given that someone who is like Garrick, builds things very sturdy to last, and these stools are no exception, as is the table, which is a bit higher than is what is typically comfortable, but you're able to make it work. And as Garrick had, I believe you said you started up the forge and began to stoke the embers on the coals as the hearth begins to glow an increasing amber hue that would have dancing shadows that would go throughout the forge. A lot of the chains that are dangling all over the ceiling would begin to cast these chain shadows, which would sway and sputter with the flames, and is ever so slightly off-putting, given it's a bit of an unusual feature for a forge, but given his unusual techniques, you can't entirely say you're surprised. You would flip open that book and would begin reading a few passages on how the technique behind manipulating fire latent magic can have a lot of versatility to it. How much time are you going to spend reading this, do you think?
24
Probably as long as
hours.
Garrick is in here.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Probably as long as Garrick is in here.
Okay. So I'd say you're more than likely going to be spending a good amount of time down here. Make an Arcana roll, and we'll see how much of this you're able to put into practice.
Nat 20.
Wow.
Well, fuck me.
This is the Zen zone, don't you know?
Okay. Given that everything that is still going on with life as a cartographer is reeling in your head, you would find the pages of a book a very comforting feeling, almost like a safe space, and you dive right into it, eager to leave all of your thoughts behind, as you would continue to take in the knowledge. It's been a while since you've had a book that's actually practical like this, and it's something that's a genuine interest to you. So you make quick work of taking in the techniques, as the book is well articulated. You imagine the librarian went to lengths to find something that's very well published and probably had a lot of revisions done on it to be as coherent as it possibly can. And a lot of the techniques would call for how you can manipulate a withheld firebolt in your hand as the most basic example before moving on to more advanced techniques. And you would try it. And you would stoke a firebolt, and you would move it with these new somatic components, and you can leave these strange trails of fire in the air that hang just for a few seconds. Almost if you could dance the flames in such a way where you can create basic shapes with it. And you do so with quite a bit of precision. You surprise even yourself, as your first couple tries, you get it right down. And you would, of course, release the firebolt, surprisingly losing your concentration for a second, being so enamored that it goes straight into the forge, and there'll be a whoosh as the forge is stoked by it. And Garrick, you see that, she contributed, I guess.
If you have need of more fire, just press down on the bellows there.
Of course.
You would continue to delve into these pages, and you would find your first practical application with this technique beyond just the party trick you learned, where you can manipulate the actual release of the firebolt in a similar manner to how you can manipulate the withheld offshoot of a held firebolt. So much so that you can shape the firebolt as it is conjured. And you can actually use this to tighten the bolt into a ray to have increased precision. And you would play around with this, and you're trying to not let off another firebolt per Garrick's request, but of course there's no real good way to do this, and through tightening the bolt and into a more concentrated form, it would fly out of your hands as if you were to squeeze something slippery in your hand and eventually slips out, as the firebolt would also land in the furnace as well. But you notice that as the bolt travels, it travels much faster and much straighter, almost like a ray. And through this technique, you effectively doubled the range of firebolts. It is now 240 feet.
Wow.
See, the joys of working in a blacksmith with fire is that you can't set anything on fire.
Suppose I chose the right meeting material then.
Let me see. I think I can edit your spell in order to actually set that. Let me see. Yes, I can. You have doubled the effective range of the firebolt cantrip.
Oh shit. Okay.
Nice.
Going to a different place. There we go. And what is Garrick up to while she's practicing this new technique?
Well, I haven't performed the ritual because I've not had any material to do it with, but I have been given some prime material, so I would like to perform my ritual.
Okay, so you're going to get your space acquired to perform this ritual.
Yes.
Okay. You would do so. Having a nice space on the floor that you would clear out. You don't have to do much, given that, as it turns out, Elman really did a nice job for organizing everything. They seem to have observed you long enough to know the way you like it. You would clear a space. And which tome are you using again?
I think for this one, I believe the Orcish book would be a very nice one to
The
do.
Orc Smith Compendium.
So,
Okay.
I will use the Orcish Smith Compendium.
You do so. And you would place this tome in front of you very neatly. And you would position yourself almost in a meditative state, where you concentrate on the book and dispel all of the external stimuli and get yourself into this calm, even state and feel the presence of the tome before you. And after a while of having the quiet silence, you would begin to feel a rise within your chest, as if to clear out all external sensory, you're able to channel into something internal, as you can feel something otherworldly begin to manifest in your chest, as this feeling would wash over your entire body over the course of a few minutes. Given that Dagny is quiet company, she is of no interruption, and you're able to do this quite effectively. And almost as if something reaching out beyond your skin, you can feel this warm, otherworldly wash exit through your body and would make contact with this book. And as this happens, Dagny, you would feel this. There is a sudden shift in the room as the growing warmth of the forge, as it is dispelling the cold of being underground, quickly would be overwhelmed as there's yet another feeling as a draft would wash over, and you're chilled quite a bit. You would look over at Garrick, and you can see that he is well within this meditative posture. And you see that tome flip open on its own. And you can see pages begin to be sifted through rapidly. And as for Garrick, you feel it once again. An unseen force would stoke flames within the parchment as the book very rapidly a set of light, as these flames would lap at the words as they consume the knowledge latent among the pages. You would see the embers would violently tear the parchment into the air as these burning shreds would begin to dance around you, whispering something beyond their texts. The ablaze tome spews like a fountain of sacrificial knowledge as you are encompassed by this ritualistic torrent. And Dagny, you're fully interrupted as you're watching this in bewilderment. You've never seen anything like this, let alone even heard of it. As these burning pieces of the book are spinning around Garrick very intensely.
Yeah, she's like frozen in place just watching this happen. Like, she feels like if she moves, like, something is going to happen.
You would watch further. And for Garrick, only you would experience this as these spinning embers and symbols would begin to shift the sensation of your body and mind alike in ways that even still you cannot fully comprehend, until your surroundings belong completely to lost words. Parchment is knit into pages once again, pages bound into spines of tomes that manifest from nothing. These tomes align into rows of shelves. These shelves structure themselves into a place of interdimensional imprisonment.
I'm sorry, what?
How many fucking books have you burned? Jesus fuck!
That's for me to know and you to find out.
Hey, how many books have you burned?
Why don't you come to the unknown place and find out?
No, I'm good.
Garrick, you awaken in this place once again. And you kind of being suddenly shifted to somewhere else. You have the familiar sensation once again as you go to try to move, but quickly remember once again that you cannot do so in this place, as you are chained to the ground in place. You would look around you in these familiar halls of lost knowledge, books that are eldritch and indecipherable. You would see a few sputters of the pages that you had burned would weave against something that is enrapturing you. You look to your body once again, and you can see a tarnished tapestry that is basically cocooned around you. And you can see bits of these words would make contact with the tapestry, and tiny pieces of it, scorched beyond any recognition, would be knit into something more tangible. As you feel an overwhelming presence of your deity here present with you in the room, as the tapestry would be repaired, and you are spoken to through the bindings of all of these pages.
You have come.
I have. With new knowledge, at that.
Knowledge. Knowledge is power. Seek it at any cost as you have.
I bring a question as well.
You may speak.
I came across an artifact. One that seemed to reach in to a different place. It powered a chapel that was seemingly indestructible. Yet, the item that powered it broke rather easily once the creature within was defeated, as I'm sure you know. I still have this item in my possession, and I was wondering with your guidance if there was anything I could do with it to aid you.
you would feel there's this presence that is writhing around you, and you're not sure if it's present here in this other place or if it's present in your physical body back in your forge. But you feel that there is something, as if feeling around to get an idea for what you're talking about. And you would feel a shiver as there is a sense of identity and recognition in this deity you're speaking to, as it seems to have found it. And it would speak again.
You have brought me a piece of a prison.
A prison.
Not unlike this place.
Might this place also be a prison back in my world that I could do the same to?
What you have brought me reeks of humanity. This was made by mortal hands.
Why would mortal hands store creatures like the one we fought?
For the same reasons I am here, a shred of what once was. Need I remind you? You alone weave the remnants of my tapestry. Without you, I am a shred floating among nothing. Without me, you are a wanderer living among nothing.
I am sorry to have offended you. I merely wanted to know more.
This artifact is similar to the events which took place long before the current time.
Are the same things happening again?
You can see it's trying to pry at this further. It's almost juggling the object. And Dagny, you're seeing, well, barely seeing Garrick. He's completely enraptured in a torrent of shredded, burning pages. There's this black, burning, wisping essence. It almost looks like a scarf he's wearing, but it's much longer and it's winding around him, almost like a long scroll that is writhing with words you cannot comprehend. And there's these strange otherworldly appendages which are outreaching from it that are touching the half of the stone that was previously in Garrick's bag and is now floating in suspended animation as whatever is coming out of Garrick is prodding at it.
Do these appendages remind me of the creature we fought?
Roll history with advantage.
Oh, hold on a minute.
With the way it moves,
Yeah,
there's some striking similarities. It's not one for one. It's not this bug-like chitinous pair of sides, but the strange feeling you get in the back of your neck would ring the same bells.
She is gonna have a firebolt prepared in case it does something malicious to him.
You would prepare it. And this prodding would continue, Garrick, as you're continually spoken to by this.
What I am is merely what is remnant from the malicious intentions of a stronger force. This stone had similar intentions behind it. Those far weaker, unable to touch that which is not flesh and blood, seek to imprison, forever entomb that which they cannot comprehend. Explain in greater detail the entity which was conjured from this rock.
A large, chitinous being, not unlike a large worm. It spat acid, made a mockery of what it thought humankind was, and seemed to have nothing but anger within its soul. A strong being at that. And I'll conjure forth, my mental images of what we saw when we fought it. Replay the battle a bit in my own mind.
There would be a shudder that would echo throughout the entire library as it would speak.
An imprint of what it once was. This is incredible. This entity, Desolate, is not unlike my own existence. The raising light which burnt my tapestries was sloppy. The blinding radiance receded, and shreds remained. And through those shreds, I remain. Broken I may be, but she did not destroy me, unlike the others, and unlike this being here. She had grown weary, killing so many. I am the embodiment of her mistake, a timeless taunt for knowledge she may never know. But those secrets are jeopardized by your actions. Choose them carefully.
What would you have me do?
The nature of this rock is for you alone to know. This rapidly changing world would change further, given the true nature of this stone to be realized. They had thought of us as kind to be gone, eradicated, for the ones who took us out to weave the future of this world as they see fit. Evidently, it was not a complete slaughter. I remain. This one remained. And who knows what else?
I think, with that would probably conclude all I need to know. I thank you for your knowledge.
You feel kind of a buckle as the grip on you begins to recede. And without any further word, you would be thrust out very forcefully from this place, and within an instant, you are thrust back into your forge. As for Dagny, the maelstrom around him would suddenly go up in smoke, and the smoke would dispel across the room. It almost braces as it washes over you, but there's no sensation, as there is a hard clang as that half stone would fall onto the ground, and Garrick seems to be awake.
She still has, like, the firebolt prepared, just pointing it towards his direction.
He goes from obviously meditative, like sitting position to one where he just leans forward, picks up the half orb, and just inspects it.
It's unchanged from when you had brought it down here.
Dagny.
She's got this intense look on her face as she's looking at you.
What would you say if I told you, and he holds up the half spear, looking at her now, that everything to do with this was entirely human-made?
She will drop the firebolt and say, elaborate.
No gods, nothing like that. This item, its sole purpose, and everything about it, was made by human hands. For the purposes of fettering gods.
You don't serve Zula, do you?
I serve the best interests of this world. I'm not against Zula. But it should be obvious that no, I do
Don't
not.
lie to me. What I saw out here was almost reminded me of that thing.
The one that came from this orb.
She nods her head.
I'm not one to give words of comfort, but I can almost guarantee that whatever you think it is not what came out of this.
But it's similar.
It will help us.
Are you
it
so sure about
provides
that?
It provides me the power to heal you. This is a secret to be kept strictly between us, because I'm the only person that may be keeping it alive. And you are the only person I think I could trust with this.
What happened to your other patrol, Garrick?
They were attacked by something not of this world. It slaughtered every single one of them without mercy, but spared me. It wasn't like the thing that I worship. It wasn't like the thing in this orb. But it clearly saw me and left me behind for some reason, and I don't know why either.
We need to get back to Rin. He has scrolls, legend lore. It would tell us more detail about what this thing is, who made it, where it came from.
You don't want to do that. The reason why I told you this was made by human hands is because the people who made this wanted to use those creatures to fight whatever it is they thought was worthy of fighting. The issue is, if the Inquisition gets their hands on something like this, figures out how to do that, and can't control it, there won't be a High Shire left.
They wouldn't do something like that. Why would they work with something that's actively against us? That thing, it was attacking us. It tried to take over the High Crucible through people.
And it was put there by human hands. All I'm saying is, you can make your own decision. I'm not going to stop you. But there are sometimes weapons that shouldn't be wielded. And I've been advised not to tell anyone how to wield this one.
So what will you do with it then?
I need a convincing way to make sure they don't get it all back. I need some shard of it to stay away permanently. Next time we go out, go somewhere as far as we reasonably can. Put it somewhere that nobody would think to look. Anything like that. What cannot happen is that the Inquisition puts these two halves back together. We may have cracked this orb once, but the Inquisition might not want us to crack it again, regardless of what comes out.
She's just looking down deep in thought, just puts her head in her hands.
If it's any consolation, I'm sorry for giving you more weight on your shoulders, but I don't know who else in this group I could trust. At least you would be honest with me.
I won't say anything, but this is not a decision I can keep for myself.
Then do what you feel is just. But I have been warned by something smarter than I am that last time this happened, it was dire.
Why can't we tell the Inquisition? It seems so bad to keep this from them. Do you really think the Inquisition has ill intention?
No. Their intentions are noble. But you've heard stories before. You know that the strongest of wills, the people who are willing to do the most, those who consider themselves most honorable, just, good people, don't ever realize that they'll do something evil. They might not even realize they're doing anything wrong until it's too late. If I tell you more about what I was told, then I would be breaking the one oath that I made to the thing that gave me this knowledge. But it has no ill intentions. I don't either. I just want to live. So does it. That won't happen if certain things happen. And this orb being whole again would probably be one of the things to ensure none of us get what we want.
She looks up at you with just, I suppose it's confusion and just, Garrick, I won't say anything of what you know or the deity whom you serve. I don't even know what it is. For now, I have to trust you. Though my gut is telling me that I don't like to think ill of people. I really don't. Believe everything you're saying. I'm trying so hard to trust you, Garrick. Then you put this burden on me, but I suppose that's my own fault. I chose to come here with you.
Would you have preferred, knowing what you do now, that this all go back to the Inquisition.
She shakes her head no.
That is why I tell you. You don't need to trust me. You don't need to trust the thing that gives me my power. I just want you to give me one olive branch to prove that it's the right decision.
She is gonna grab her book and carefully shift herself off the high chair. And she slowly kind of makes her way towards the quiet area of the room where the bed frame is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to rest now. You do whatever needs to be done, and she'll cordon off the area.
You would do so, and easily done, as you make yourself a place to rest for the evening.
She was trying so hard to hold together. Like, there's a moment where she's kind of finding it hard to catch her breath, and she goes into a coughing fit for a bit before she catches herself, and then lays down to sleep.
After staying up for a little bit longer, I'll go up the stairs, grab some food for myself, and some varying things to bring to Dagny, and just put it by the door before going off in my own little area to sleep in.
You would do so, and as you're prepping food that had been pointed out by Ilman, you would hear a bit of a commotion outside as he rapidly gets up from where he is outside. You know, he has a little rocking chair that he likes to sit in, sit outside after a long day, and he comes inside, presumably having heard you, because there's nothing subtle about the way you move.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah. And then he has this kind of bright shine in his eyes. He's excited as he says, "Hey, how's everything going down there?"
Could be going better.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, long day being a cartographer. I guess I can't say I blame you guys. But
Can I
hey,
ask you for a bit of advice?
Sure. Sorry, I'm really distracted. I saw something really cool. Just please continue.
Well, we can go out and watch whatever it is in a second.
Well, it was you missed it. It was so cool. So like, you know, the sky, how it's all been like glowy, right? It's kind of been a bright night because of that. It finally wore off a little bit. You can see there's kind of the glow coming from the pillar, but still, no, it was just dark enough. I heard about people talk. I think maybe read it when I was a kid. I never thought that shooting stars were real. I actually saw one. It was so cool. Actually, no, I saw two. It was really cool. Oh, man, it's just something magical about it. That was it. Sorry, continue.
No, that is great. Actually, that doesn't happen often.
Oh, they're really close too.
But what do you do when you tell your, I suppose, friend something that doesn't make them happy, but is nonetheless the truth? What do you do afterwards?
Well, Eric, you can't really control how they feel, and the truth is subjective. You can't really change that either. So, really, in terms of what the truth is and how they think about it, that's really not something that you can change. Unless if it's a matter of opinion, but if you've already given that, then you've already given that. You know, whenever me and Tyrell have our spats, you've seen them. It's not the fact that you have those spats that really causes the problems. It's how you move forward in light of the spatdom that really makes the difference. So you gotta problem solve. It's how you take a problem with someone else and be like, all right, this is the thing. How do we how do we compromise? How do we move forward? Really, it's not about the agreeing, which is really important, but more so just the understanding of how they feel that really makes a difference. Because in there's certain situations where you can't really just slap a band-aid on it because that's just how it is sometimes. But just proving that you can accept, that you can agree to disagree, sometimes that's enough. It really depends on who they are.
Okay. Well, I mean, you would know better about relationships than I do, at the very least.
I do what I can. It's worked so far, right?
Well, I mean, you do have a loving husband, so apparently.
Whatever. Yeah. It's a proven method.
Okay.
But it's not a guarantee. I don't really know how it'll turn out for you, to be honest, and I don't think anybody does.
Well, I'm gonna take these down and get some shut-eye. If you need me for anything, you know where I am.
That's okay. I'm gonna sit outside and, assuming I can watch the sky some more unabated, maybe I'll catch some more stars. So cool. Art across the sky is beautiful. I'm inspired. I'm gonna...
I might be heading out early in the morning. I don't know when. If I don't see Tyrael, tell him I said hi.
I will. And
all right, then. Well,
if I don't see you in the morning, just be careful, okay?
Yes,
Please.
You know. I'm surprisingly tough to kill, funnily enough.
So
I should be okay. And I'll keep an eye out for that flower for you, too.
Gotcha.
See you.
He gives a wave and finishes what he was doing and goes right back outside.
God, the amount of more things I could get done if I were an elf. Anyway. And, then I just do what I was doing and go to sleep.
Sleep you would. And we will switch gears. We will return to Mayarks, who I believe you were heading towards the Battlesmith estate, I believe, correct?
Oh god, I think people are about to get a fucking whiplash with how fast this direction is about to go.
That's the best type of game to have, though.
Yeah, I'm heading towards the Battlesmith estate.
So, you have much of the same process of trying to shimmy your way through the inner walls of Highshire, and it takes a bit longer to find a cart that is able to take you there, but sure enough, you would brandish the seal of the Inquisition, as well as the fact that you're a cartographer, and they, of course, run through the motions, accommodate you for the lift. You would tell them how far you're going, and the guy gives you a bit of lip, but given it's nighttime and things are starting to settle down, you manage to get a ride to go across the kingdom to where the Battlesmith estate resides. A good 2 hours pass before you actually make it there. And for brevity's sake, all is mostly quiet as you would take this time to traverse. The auric discharge from the ring that is illuminating the light sky is subsiding to reveal a more dark, familiar night sky. As the aura recedes, the light of the pillar would recede as well. And there's a few stars that finally come out. Roll perception.
Alright, I've been rolling shit all day. There we go, more shit. 12.
On your travels, there's definitely a tinge of restlessness from the homesteads that you pass by. And you're surprised that you know that into the night people generally simmer down, and the people who are active in the night tend to have a bit of subtlety to them. But as you can see, there is the continued restlessness of people trying to move their things even to the dead of night. It seems like a good amount of people try to do their night operations in an attempt to get around the crazy transit that is daily sunlight life. Never a dull moment. You take some time in the cart to rest and keep your head down and reflect on everything that's happened recently, given that it's been a rough recent few days. And you do manage to doze off a little bit in the cart, given you're riding on your own. And unlike your rest in the High Crucible, this one is not met with visions or nightmares, but you'd be jolted awake as you would see the abrupt stop of the cart, and you'd have your driver call out from your shoulder, "Hey, Battlesmith Estate, right? This is the place.
Thank you. And just
Do me a favor and don't hail me again to travel that far. I get it, who you are, but still."
If I'm going to try and recognize your face and go for you specifically next time with a short smile.
"You're a dick. Get out of here."
Yeah, and just walking off.
And off you go, as there's a familiar sight before you.
Alright. I'm gonna start walking towards the house. Is there smoke going on?
The smoke of the forge has gone out. It appears like there is not much going on in the nightlife of the Battlesmith Estate. It's pretty late into the night now, but even still, there's still a couple torchlights that are dancing along the outside, which isn't uncommon. You know your father is known for keeping the lights on because, well, you're not really quite sure why.
Just wander to my house and just give a knock, just as much non-Murex as possible, just customer complaint.
There was a immediate shuffling by the door. Someone who was, you imagine, very close by, waiting for a possible visit. As you would see the door open up and your father standing before you has this similar disgruntled, furrowed brow, expecting a customer. Wakes up a little bit out of his sleepiness as he realizes it was you that said that. And he just gives off a and he gives you a slap on the head and then embraces you very tightly immediately afterwards.
The fork that you forged my mother-in-law, she says it's way too small. Just holding the javelin.
Oh, I'm so assuming that everything outside the walls doesn't speak common, otherwise I'm sure they would have singled you out by now.
No, you'd be wrong. Just, showing off some new fucking scars. They
Zula,
do tend to single me out, actually.
Well, maybe there's some lesson to be learned in that.
Yeah.
Hell, I'm glad you're still alright. Cartography, ugh. Not exactly the map-making job I was hoping it to be.
Not exactly the job I was hoping to have.
Not the cushy life in the interior that you were hoping for, I see.
Less that, more guarding.
Come inside.
I mean,
I got some
obviously.
hot food for you.
Just gonna come in. Is mother home?
She's out. She's been moving around quite a bit. Given that she's not necessarily as trained in the forge as I am, she's helping people out, and well, I'm not really sure where at the present moment, but she's doing good work. You know how she is.
You two need to rest more. Like a lot
If
more.
only. I could say the same for you. Look at you. I may have soot on my hands and face, but you... No, that's gonna scar over quite nice.
Yeah. Hey, went to the place Singing Ring. Big man, fought him, won.
Really? Where'd
Yeah.
you find the time to do that?
Before the last time. Did you get a letter, in between the times I left and came back? I asked him to send one.
Did they? Well, I'm not sure I did.
Well, in
I mean-
between, but in between those two. I came back and left twice now.
Oh. Well, it's possible that you yourself may have beat your own letter back here. I can't imagine that things are orderly with the way they're handing out parchments and scrolls. So, call me surprised.
Yeah.
Then again, they've always been slow as hell giving mail to people, so whatever.
They're quite fast in the inner walls.
Oh, yeah, inner walls. Shocking.
Just sitting down, just... How's work?
Well, it never stops. I've been trying to think of a way to incur discounts to sell to people, but there's no realistic way to do it from a business standpoint, so... In fact, I've had to raise my prices.
Maybe I could get the Inquisition to start requisitioning from you. Give you more work. Sounds interesting.
Oh yeah, like I need more work. It's the supplies out of the problem. No one's going outside anymore. I mean, not that there was many in the first place, but there were some things that had to be nabbed out there, but now that everything beyond the walls is seemingly dead, or trying to kill those who aren't dead, I don't even know where they're going anymore. He's definitely tired, and he has his head in his hands as he's at the kitchen table, and he seems to be lost in his own head for a little while. Yeah. Had a magician-looking folk that showed up today. They wanted to buy all my raw materials.
How did that go?
And I said, these materials are going to be turned into blades that can potentially save lives. What are you going to do with it? You know what he said?
Magic.
Well, that's the gist of it. Fucking ferryman. But yeah, he was talking about how it was going to be able to something it into something that can cast. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's a hard material, and he wants to turn it into something that's, incorporeal, I think is the word. I don't know. I said, well, if you can't prove to me that this is going to be as good used in your hands as it is in my forge, get the fuck out. So, they got the fuck out.
Couldn't prove what they said.
No, they need to be able to articulate themselves. You should know.
Any word from the Inquisition about anything? I'm kind of surprised they haven't talked to you at all.
What's with you and the Inquisition? As if that's the only thing that matters. There's so much more going on. You're obsessed with those asshats. I mean, not that I've really had a problem with them, but what I'm more concerned about is the word of the Chosen. Everything they've been spouting lately, it seems to not be speaking as loudly as Panic.
Yeah, hopefully the work that my group is doing can help decide that a little bit.
Oh, that's right. You answer to the Inquisition. That's why you're so obsessed with them.
Regretfully.
More to the interior than that, I'm afraid, but you can't see past your own shoelaces half the time, but whatever.
Hey, tomorrow, do you think you can, you and I can help, or you and I can make a shield for me?
It's a good amount of material, I'm afraid. Who would I be to not help out my son in a land filled with death? I have one that had the framework going. For someone who's supposed to be coming in 2 days from now. I suppose I could repurpose it for you and say that the shortage of materials was keeping me up and it's going to need some more time. After all, that is the truth. There is a remarkable shortage of materials. It's strangely getting worse. Well, I guess not so strangely, but it feels strange. Everything feels strange.
But, what's for dinner?
Well, got some steamed fruits and veggies. I know it's kind of not your favorite, who steams fruits, but hey, look at me. I ate it all my life and I got nice and strong, so. Little blast from the past, just like forgetting you to eat this stuff. Just like when you were running around, causing havoc across the street.
Has that really changed?
No, it hasn't.
That is good. Let's just forget about everything going on. We eat.
Well said. And with that, you would enjoy a meal of steamed fruits and veggies, as he put it, with your dear old dad, as you are really relieved and as good of a show as you put on. Your raised nerves are definitely simmered a bit by the food straight from home. Reminds you of your childhood in many ways, and being back here after everything you just saw out there is a well-needed reprieve.
Hell yeah.
Are there any further actions from you here?
I'm just gonna tell my father I'm gonna go to my room and sleep and ignore the snoring.
He gives you a nod, smile, and see you off as you enter your childhood bedroom, which has been cleaned out a lot of the more childish stuff since you've been out in your choice of career. But yeah, you would fall onto your bed and would fall asleep very quickly in a matter of moments. You needed this.
Good night's rest, finally.
And with that, we will end the night for you. Let's see. Back at the hall, there would be a good period of time that would pass, roughly an hour and a half's worth, where your drone would come back, Rin, empty-handed. There's no sign of any of your comrades.
Of course. Ask one thing of them, and they fail to do even that. Fucking where am I with the, legs?
Legs.
You've gotten pretty far. Roll Arcana one more time since you're rolling through this project into the night.
Fuck me.
Seems you've hit a snag. You need Dagny present in order to really make this work, given that you can't test this yourself because of your suit, and you don't know the dimensions of her legs.
I'm going to angrily just stuff all my shit back into the bag of holding. Because there's nothing I can fucking do, and I've been here for hours. And, fuck. Yeah, they just keep fucking disappearing.
Yep.
And I'm pissed fucking mad, so I'm just gonna go fucking... Honestly, the first place I can think to go is that fucking river we see outside the Inquisitorial Hall.
Uh-huh. You would do so, and you're angrily stuffing things into your bag and collecting what you've been able to scrape together here. And just before you are about to head out, there is a knock at the door.
What is it?
Heard you were in here and wanted to stop by. It's a familiar voice.
Very well. Enter.
The door would open, and in walks Thistle, having his helmet off. It seems as though the things that needed to be taken care of with burying his brothers has completed, as he is once again in the inquisitorial halls. As he walks in, calmly closes the door and surveys your work, as you are still had a bunch of your stuff that you were still in the process of stuffing things, so it was a little bit messy because of your frustration, but he walks in and surveys at least what's left of your work before you're done putting it away. And he looks around the place and gives a bit of a nod. Never a dull moment, huh? Always busy making things work.
There is many things to do, and not enough time nor resources to do them. Regrettably.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's been a lot to process. It's not often that the elite get to go so far beyond the walls. You almost forget what it's like out there, as if you even know to begin with. And I'm sure with you, knowing that you're just going to have to go back out there eventually anyways, trying to process everything and the inevitability of doing it all over again. Well, I get it. But one thing that is really drilled into our heads, one thing that's true is everyone has a certain limit. And when you reach that limit, brute force no longer applies. In fact, brute force is only destructive. Everyone needs to process and rest and recover at certain points. And you've been through quite a bit. I've handled people throughout Highshire that have dealt with trauma, and it's not uncommon for them to bury themselves and distract themselves. But burying a problem doesn't necessarily make it go away. If I were you, regardless of what you may have been working on in here, I would maybe try to lay down for a little while. Reflect on things. And although it's hard for many, just let it all out.
I believe I spent enough time recollecting myself. 8 years of it outside of these walls. And now the boy is in danger, and the Inquisition does not have the resources to do anything useful. Some apology that was, searching for the boy at my request for barring me for 8 damned years. And then we have all this backwards way of doing things, at least from how I see it. Though I imagine you see it another way.
We come from very different backgrounds. Our lives are very different. But that doesn't mean we're unwilling to listen to opposing views, despite our strict tenets. How do you see things here? I understand living as an outcast in Highshire and then being asked to do dirty work such as being a cartographer. A suicide mission, as many put it, is infuriating. With nothing guaranteed, but how exactly do you view it all?
Fine then, I'll give you an honest answer that is not sugar-coated in any way. I believe Highshire and all the people here only make the correct decisions when circumstances force their hand. They walled themselves here among their pillar of commandments in the safety of their god. Ignorant to the world, fearful, putting themselves in a gilded cage. All the while the world turned on without them. But once that cage of theirs is threatened, all of a sudden they are willing to do something about the world. If only to save themselves. And those who disrupt the inner workings are thrown out into the world, into the claws and maws of the beast outside to die. And for what? Small crimes? Who are the ones who decide who gets exiled? The Inquisition? The Chosen?
It depends on the nature of the circumstances. Different points of view are appropriate for different sets of events. Typically, the Inquisition is the forefront, but more pressing issues are brought to the Council if the power to do so permits.
It baffles me how those of Highshire speak so often about unity, compassion, humanity as a whole, but is so willing to throw people aside when they do not fit that mold. They say one thing and then do another. And I'm curious as to those who hold power of Highshire. These icons, huge beings, garbed in your finest armaments, capable of wielding this divine light. Why are they not constantly patrolling the outer walls and protecting the people within? During my time outside of your walls, I have never seen these gilded angels of yours. No, from all I have seen is that they sit here in their gilded holy tower.
You went to the pillar for the first time ever, huh? That's what the reports say. What did you see there?
That chosen of yours, Leonidas, alongside the chaplain, successfully bringing back Obosh, who, of course, died in service of protecting Highshire. But that is not the reason for why they brought him back, of course. No. They brought him back because he can be useful for them with what he knows, simply by being attached to us. He is not important as an individual, neither is our team of cartographers. No. The only importance we have to the Inquisition in Highshire is the connection to this device, and nothing more. As I'll summon the cartographer core in my hand.
You would, and Thissa would observe it, his brows raising slightly. You saw one of our chosen. Leonidas is one of the more noble. Do you know how many chosen there are in total?
I imagine low numbers. 12.
Well, with everything I've heard about Sadrius, there's going to be 8 now. And you only saw one within the pillar, correct?
Yes.
That would suggest that they're not sitting on their throne, but rather in other places where their voice, their abilities, everything you saw about them, at least with Leonidas, is being used elsewhere. Now, I don't know about the outside, but their visions are to focus on us, on mastering ourselves, to work together. You've lived among the worst, I know. You've seen terrible people, I'm sure. The people that get thrown out. So you see that inside of this cage, as you call it, it's not a paradise. We've not mastered ourselves. We're not looking to the benefit of everyone's future, regardless of who they may be. You are right about that. So, why would we leave and try to expand Highshire when the Highshire we have is so far from perfect, when keeping everyone together is so fragilely kept up? It's... well, from your perspective, I can't blame you for seeing it that way, but everything that happens here, everything that's had happened over the past 100+ years, it's anything but simple. And no matter what action they take, someone always has to be left out. They don't have enough materials to start raising everyone that's dying from the dead. So they try to make the people they can bring back matter the most. But bringing your friend back, he's potentially saving countless lives in addition. It's not fair to those that need to stay dead. But could you think of a better outcome?
I'm not foolish enough to believe that the circumstances of the world do not play a heavy factor, as well as resources. I have simply been displeased of what I have seen of Highshire, of the common people's treatment. Those who are not useful to live in the outer walls. Those with wealth and influence provided the safety of the inner walls and all the luxuries there within. This hierarchy that is instilled upon the people here, I disagree at a fundamental level with.
So how would you do it if you had your way?
I would ensure that everyone is treated equally. That those in need would be provided with the protection and resources they need. To be fair, to understand one another, to be equals. And yet, I see the rich with their lavish homes and jewelry, and then I see the poor wearing their ragged clothing, being worked to the bone just to survive.
This is considering your words for a moment, is trying to think of what to say next. Well, if you want to make some sort of impact, then I'll let you make one on my behalf. Or at least I can consider your input, since I've already taken in so many of your words. I'm at an impasse. Continuing my line as a member of the elite, or taking the advice of many of you cartographers and joining that cause instead. Forfeiting the duty as an elite in favor of going back out there. Now, if you had absolute sway, what course of action would you see best suited for someone like myself to create a world that you think is better?
For all I say, in offense to Highshire, my disagreements with it and how it operates, this place is still your home. It is all you have known. I imagine you have heavy ties to Highshire, family, friends.
I do have those.
Of
And that's
course.
why I've taken up this line of duty. To do the things that others aren't able or aren't willing to do. And to know that my actions make a difference. And
Well,
as important as familial bonds are, I believe in the guidance that Zula gives, even though I understand and accept that many do not. I feel like the time that we have is meant to be spent disputing things like this. These are important questions. To come to, if not a consensus, then at least an understanding. That's what unity really means to me.
I suppose I would need to ask you a question to answer yours in turn. This god of Highshire, of Zula, and, well, tell me, Thistle, what do you know of the religions warring with one another.
Religions from before High Shire's time are hard to find good, trustable information on, but from what I have heard, there's a very large variance in beliefs, and when two groups come together that have very different ideas of what a higher power should be, they typically fight and kill people over it. And I'm not certain on what that proves. Their views are still their views. It's my belief and our instruction as members of the elite that in order to really come to coexistence and unity by extension, we can't fight our way to being right. We need to find another way. A better one. And I think the tolerance of people who share different views is the first step. We might not all have the same belief in Zula, but being able to identify that our views are different and live under the same name, within the same walls is the first step. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight or even over the course of a century, but we've taken strides. And as I understand it, the steps that we do take towards coexistence, in light of everything, is what gives Zula her life. I think that's why that there was no real conception of Zula before all this. Maybe living in such different isolated worlds before everything happened. We were all viewing the exact same thing, but just from different angles. And now that we're all together, we need to compare those angles and take those different points of view and piece together something that is meant for everyone.
You remind me of a man I once knew. Alexander was his name. He was, well, very open-minded of the world. Creatures, people, everything. And though many humans meet the unknown with fear, he did not. He extended an open hand in greeting towards it. He valued understanding above all else. He was a good man. I have not had the best experiences with humanity as a whole, especially those in the past, as well as the initial meeting with those of Highshire. I fear I have let slights made against me, emotions sway my judgment and mind. You are right in the sense that there is a point before one simply cannot function anymore. I suppose the news of what Obosh has relayed to us, the festering emotions of my opinion of Highshire, the goings-on outside the walls, but most importantly, Elijah, the boy in who I have taken care of, missing, alone, out in the wild. Just the fact the Inquisition and Highshire couldn't spare the resources and manpower needed to search for him, well, I suppose that threw me over the edge. I do not know what happened. I simply do not know what to do. If I were to head off alone into the world searching for him, I would surely die. The only reason I'm alive today is because I survived sheltered in the shadow of Highshire's walls. I need Highshire and its people. I need help with many things that I cannot do alone, though I wish I could.
So you need Highshire for certain things, and blame them when you don't get it. Now, how is that any different from the actions you were damning Highshire for when they act on things that they need? Is it not one and the same?
It is. I suppose I have let my emotions blind me to logical thinking once again.
Well, I can't blame you for feeling the way you do. It's justified to feel angry for not getting these important things, but at the same time, it's important to understand the nature of your own mind. Not easy to do. That's why becoming an elite is so difficult. We need to solve these problems. We can't be having second thoughts about these sorts of things when we put our lives down to save others. We need the certainty that it's the right choice, to the best of our beliefs. And if it isn't, and we learn that, then we need the humility to understand, acknowledge, and evolve from that. In my eyes, that's what following Zula's really about.
To evolve and change for the better.
Essentially.
I believe you are right. That I do indeed need to change. I have been hiding behind a veneer, a shell of hostility, apathy, and silence. I blame Highshire's shortcomings, but I do not suggest alternatives.
Well,
So yes, I believe evolving in that way will allow both our goals to come to fruition.
yeah. Your body's been pretty weary, and now I suppose your mind is just as up there considering everything, so... I'd say you should probably wrap things up here and get some sleep.
But to answer your question as to what you wish to hear my opinion on, to leave and work with the cartographer corps, or stay here as an elite. I believe you can do a lot of good out there, Thistle.
I need to be certain that going back on my tenets in favor of going out there is going to have a bigger impact than if I were to stay inside the walls. People need someone like myself now more than ever in here. Going out there is a gamble at best. Needs to be worth gambling for. Nothing's a guarantee. Not even in here, but Just like everything else that we've come to accept with Unity, it's a decision that I'm going to have to make on my own. But thank you for your words.
Of course. And
Aye.
thank you for yours. You have definitely aided me with this problem of mine.
Happy to help. Better than stewing inside of here by yourself. I hope I wasn't the only person who came to visit. Has Gervon come by as well?
No.
No. Well, it'll be a long night for me then. In any case, I should leave you to it.
Yeah, and I'll bid him good night, good day. I don't know what fucking time it is.
It is the dead of night. Very late.
Fuck.
So, with that being said, Thistle gives you a nod and heads out, leaving you to your own devices.
Hot diggity damn.
Where the fuck is everyone?
Fun.
Man, I
night.
couldn't fucking convey my meaning in that conversation at all. Oof.
I mean, that's in character. You're going through a lot.
Emotions are hard.
Yeah. Definitely talking with him has made me less. I'm about to fucking throw something. But I need to think. So yeah, I'll leave the hall and I'm gonna go just have a nice little walk around. Back to my initial thing of like, I want to go hang out by that bridge, the waterfall and river, for a bit before I imagine going back to the inn and securing a room to just rest in, get some shelter, make sure nobody like tries to take my shit.
You would
I'd be
do
quite
so.
impressed if they managed to steal your outfit while you were asleep.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny.
And out you go. We would lead out into the area of the High Capital, and even under the darkness of night, as the auric flow of the rings have subsided, you too now can see that the pillar always has this eminence to it, no matter the time of day. And you would follow the illuminant streetlights, stoked by some form of mundane magic, to arrive at this river, which you have visited several times in your travels here, with the familiar sound of rushing water. You have a moment to further process all the thoughts that are in your head in some potentially well-needed isolation.
Yeah. I'm definitely, as I'm thinking here and settling into myself, I do have the thought of what the fuck are those idiots doing right now? I'm thinking about how much I would like to strangle Mirks.
What the fuck?
Wow.
You also can't find Gorok or Dagny, bitch.
Yeah, but we're cool.
Yeah, I think about how Garok is super suspicious.
Oh. Why am I suspicious?
Because you're new.
Yeah. And, you know, just everything that's going on. Bryn is just leaning against the railing alone, watching the waterfall, and kind of goes back to the worry and what they're going to do when the sun rises again. thinking about Elijah. Where is the boy now? Is he hurt? Is he in danger? And Rin's just stewing on this. Just kind of thinking, almost like a mantra in the back of their head. Just, I don't know if I can mourn another child.
You would take a long time to yourself. Having this area cleared out versus how it usually is during the day, you are lost in your thoughts processing everything that you've described. And looking down towards the lapping of the water that is very gently reflecting the light of the sconces and magical streetlights, has this almost ethereal glimmer to it. It just catches the light just faintly enough to give a bit of a sparkle dance that is mesmerizing in a term of familiarity and comfort among the water. You would be mulling over things for a time, and you would just be among these sparkles of the lapping water. And curiously, it would, at one point, after a good 20, 30, you even know how long it's been, these sparkles would flare up very brightly. And it kind of makes you shake your head a little bit out of it, as there's some very bright light that's being reflected out of nowhere. You would look up and around, and you can see past the light of the pillar, streaking across the sky, is 3 white falling stars streaking over Highshire just beneath the cloud line. And these would arc across towards the far south this time of Highshire, and would descend below the clouds to the nearby valley side, and you lose sight over the cityscape. But those descended. You look around and try to see if anyone else saw it, but the few people that are out here are lost in their own conversations with people nearby. You think you may have been the only person to see it happen.
Oh, God. Just piling more problems on me.
We love problems here.
Like, fuck. I was thinking about, like, interrogating the fuck out of Gearbon tomorrow and, like, figuring out this whole human trafficking thing, but no, you're just making more problems for me, world. Fuck! Yeah, Rin will definitely just give an exhausted sigh. They'll make a note of it in their journal. And God, yeah, they will definitely stumble off to the inn now. Within their suit, they're definitely in a dour mood. But yeah, that's it, I suppose.
You do so. In the same whirlwind of your own head, would take the good half-hour walk to get back into the Singing Ring Tavern. And eventually you would, in fact, arrive.
Oh, fuck, it's too bright.
And well into the night, you can see that this place has quite the nightlife. And you can see that there is an arrangement being made over towards the far small stage where the fighting rink usually was. It looks like that fighting rink area gets repurposed on a day-to-day basis, depending on whatever the current event is. And you can see that there is a small arrangement of minstrels that are preparing some form of band? Not quite sure. And the smell of various types of food and mead would wash over you as you come into this place. And of course, there's a few of the patrons who look over, seeing a big, tall, suited man. It's not a common sight, but the barkeep from afar would notice you, recognize you, and give you a nod as he's wrapping up his current patron. He's pouring him a glass. And the band would start up as well.
Yeah, wanting to avoid any more social interaction for the day, Rin is just beelining it to the front desk / bartender guy. And
You do so.
yeah, definitely showing the insignia once again and telling them, I require a spare room for the night, if one is available.
You would see that there's the barkeep who recognizes you over the riffraff of everything going on, and he kind of waves a hand dismissively. I remember you. Yep. You sleep here for free, you understand? By the way, there was a weird thing that came barging through my doors looking for a cartographer patrol. Was that your toy?
Sure. It was searching for my team members. They were supposed to be here so we could reconvene and talk about important matters, but of course, they have wandered off to who knows where.
I see. Well, I'm surprised they let cartographers have free reign like that. I thought they were always supposed to... it doesn't matter. You guys could use this break. Ah. Crazy times. Anyways, yep. Last door on the left is yours. And he tosses you the key to do so. Need a drink? Actually, I'm not sure how you would... You have like a port or like a straw that goes... Never mind. If you want to drink, let me know.
Yeah, I'll give him a nod. Fuck off to the quiet room.
Hey, we
You would
never
do
set
so.
up a time frame to be back by. We just said we'd meet up there.
Yeah, and this place is loud tonight. You think you may not be the only one who's on hard times, so everyone's drinking away. You disregard that, go off as the music will get increasingly muffled. As you go off to your room, lock yourself away, and if there's no further action for you, you are going to sleep for the evening.
Fuck you, sleep.
Yeah.
And sleep you do, with the band still audible through the floorboards, but given how exhausted you are, you have no problem drifting off into a well-needed, deep sleep. And that's where I'd like to end the session.
Alrighty.
Did everyone have fun?
Oh yeah, it was very nice today.
Mm-hmm. It's, I prepare all these fucking things, and, like, maybe 30% of everything that I was, like, spending all this time crafting was actually used. I'm like, wow, I feel stupid now. Probably should have expected it, though.
Alright.
It's such a
that
good
doesn't mean
story.
you
We're
got it.
milking it.
Alright. Tradition.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining. I'm like, I forget that's what happens.
Ending the recording now. Tradition, bitch.
It doesn't matter.